And we are live. Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to the live stream celebrating the 500th episode of Digital Caveman Presents. And that's just regular episodes. That's not counting the few lives and special presentations that I've done. And we'll play the intro and then we'll get started.
I have a
Alrighty.
question.
Yes.
Did you upload the video to StreamYard or did you
No, I
just
did not.
share
I
it?
just I just play. I hit the present button
Yeah, next time
and video file.
go in the brand
Hmm.
on the right side, upload it, and then when you play the intro, we all disappear and get muted.
Ah,
And then after that, it automatically brings us back. So it's just something I've discovered.
yeah. I need to do this more so I can learn what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah, I was surprised. I checked your live link, like all your live stuff, and you have about
Yeah,
five.
it's not much. I did like 2 unboxings and 2 interviews, one of which was yours.
Yes. And Jason. Well, Patriot Prime. Product placement. Patriot Prime. Sorry.
He owes me some ad revenue now.
Okay.
All right. In case everybody didn't know, I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman. And today I have with me from Raziel Kane Reviews, Raziel Kane himself, or Raz. And we have Ed from Geek Homeworld.
Hello.
And what's your other podcast right now?
Exploring with us.
Exploring with us.
Splorin with us.
So at some point, I will, in the description for the video, add their information if you don't have it already, which most of my viewers probably are the same viewers as Raz here.
Well, I realized we share, not that, I don't think a lot of YouTubers actually share a lot of the same viewer. Like, I mean, if you were to compare, like, the viewers from, let's say, Patriot Prime to you probably, your 400, 500 are part of Patriot Prime. But from me to you, it's probably 10% that we share.
Really?
I don't think it's because you do a lot more than just Transformers, while I do just Transformers. So you get, that extra people. And
Yeah,
once in a
but
while,
what did you say? You were at 450 something now?
I'm at 458 right now.
You're ahead of me now.
I did. You
I'm
know
at
what? It's so weird.
438, 439, something like that.
It's so weird to pass people I used to like. I watch, like you and I have always been close.
Yeah.
But I passed Ninja Bill not too long ago, and I was like, wow, he's been doing this for like a long time. And I passed him, and you kind of feel bad for it, but at the same time, you're proud.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
So, but yeah, I'm just sending the link for this to my wife, just in case she wants to come say hi.
Okay.
She's a great supporter of, or she tolerates a lot of what I do, and I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I know. I completely understand.
Yeah,
I completely understand.
yeah, yeah. You're married. You got kids.
Yep.
Is it still fun to balance your work life or hobby? Yeah, now it's work life hobby balance.
Yeah. Well, my work is generally just the kids. I'm a stay-at-home dad.
Oh, okay.
And when I started doing that, I should have started doing this 15 years ago. But I didn't know
Didn't listen to
anything.
me.
I didn't know anything about it, and camera equipment and stuff like that, editing stuff. It was just also expensive just 15 years ago, you know. I mean, some of it still is, depending on, you know, what you get, but like some equipment you can get almost dirt cheap, like
But there's
lights and green
so much
screens
more
and
you can get now for really affordable prices.
oh yeah. Yeah.
My my editing tool cost me $60 the first time, and then a year and a half later they had a license upgrade. And if I wanted the new version, I had to buy another license, which I did because there was a major problem with it.
Mhm.
So far I'm probably in 100, like, because the second time it was cheaper. So I'm probably below 100 for an editing tool, and that was something 10 years, 20 years ago. That was like, whoa, you have to pay big bucks.
Yeah. Yeah, 20 years ago it was Windows Movie Maker, which was a great program at the time. And I know Ed and I have talked about that a lot, about how much we miss Windows Movie Maker.
Hell yeah.
Because
Till
it
then
was so easy to use too.
I never used
But
it.
there's so much more now that you can do that you couldn't do, you
But that
know.
it's yeah, now it's more. There's a pro and con. There's a lot more redneck on the internet right now because of that. I'm just saying,
That's
you
true. That's
you know,
true.
in
And it's
Canada we
just
have our share of
and
idiots.
you know, it's just a-holes period, you know. It's
Oh yeah.
and
Well,
there's a-holes everywhere.
we're in the age of that where somebody's opinion speaks louder than a fact.
Oh,
So
definitely.
yeah.
Definitely.
So eventually this is gonna weed itself out. I'm guessing, hopefully, but it's gonna take a while.
And just I mean in our field of, you know, reviewing stuff, there's so many people that are just haters. And it's like
Oh yeah.
every time you flip through YouTube, it's like Hasbro's done it again. They suck. I mean,
Well, yeah. It depends. I like opinion, researched opinion.
yes.
Um,
And you know, there are people out there that know what they're talking about, and but a
yeah,
lot of that, you know, 90% of that stuff is just clickbait crap.
yeah. I
And
agree.
you know,
A friend of mine purposely does clickbait for his weekly news review, but he
and
says it in the title, clickbait. So you know that it's
oh, you're talking about
input.
input,
Yeah. So we've been collaborating, well,
and I
streaming once in a while with him. Once in a
and
while, like
I hate clickbait. I won't do it. And I know it's like if you use TubeBuddy, you know, one of the main things they tell you, oh, pretty much they're telling you to make clickbait
oh yeah, no.
titles. And I feel like that's disingenuous, and I'm not gonna do it.
I use TubeBuddy to get my milestone certificate when I
Yeah,
reach a
yeah.
certain milestone.
Well,
So
they have some neat features on there, like
yeah.
the where you
Did
can
you use the
reuse
paid
the
version?
do what?
Did you use the paid version of TubeBuddy?
Oh no,
No,
no, no, no.
Okay.
no.
Well, you
What is
know I
I
do.
use it as well.
And you know, they have some other good features in there, like the where you can reuse the tags and titles, where it just transfers everything over, and you can pick and choose what you want to use. That saves me a lot of time.
Yeah, the tags I do. Well, like it's part of when you upload the video. It shows like because that's something I've changed. I used to use my editing tool to upload, but one time out of two, it would tell me upload failure or something like that, and I never understood why. And then I emailed, the tech support for it, and then they would reply, "Oh, you have to, in your option, switch browser, then upload it, and then re-switch back, and then
Yeah,
upload it again." I'm like, I'm wasting my time.
yeah,
So
it's much easier just to upload it through YouTube.
directly through YouTube. So prefer that.
And
Ed, you
you know,
seem to
but
have an interesting collection. What I don't know you, so what do you collect?
Souls. No.
All right, here's mine. If it's gonna get me views, there you go.
No. There's a clickbait right there. Star Wars. There's Star Wars. There's Star Trek. There's like everything. Sci-fi. any kind of science fiction. I'm not as big Transformers as Digital Caveman is. He's probably my go-to Transformers guy. Um, but just about a little bit of everything. I mean, I'm gonna give y'all an opinion here that you won't hear anywhere else. I thought The Flash was a good film.
Well, I don't
I
know
It was,
because I
haven't
hadn't
seen
seen
it
it.
yet.
even though
I
I
want to
get the
love it.
criticism.
I want to
Well,
love it.
I'm hoping that the Flash dies at the end, just so that we don't see
Ezra
that
Miller
actor
again.
in the role.
Yeah,
Because I
I do
think
not care for him.
for the whole thing, it's if you take the couple last DC movies and everything that happened, you have Amber Heard who completely ruined Aquaman, and they have to reshoot everything, followed by that Miller guy being in the news for assault and shit every week. Then you have The Rock, who, because of his ego, uh, pretty much ruined the DCEU because he didn't want Shazam as his opponent. He wanted to go straight for Superman, and because his ego was too big, and that got Cavill fired, and him getting renewed for a new movie.
Well,
Well,
actually,
I think all that was on the way out anyway.
Yeah,
it was all on the way out, but Henry Cavill's, I think his wife, excuse me, The Rock's wife was the agent of Henry Cavill, and The Rock was actually responsible for bringing Henry Cavill back on. But The Rock tried a power play for DC, and David Zaslav and oh God, I almost said Jar Jar Abrams. What's his name?
good name.
Oh, Misa gonna direct a movie.
Yeah,
He Misa
but
got
yeah,
who in Star Wars? Uh, no, but what happened is he brought him back, but he tried a power play, and he tried to take the character of Black Adam and make him like the center of the DC universe. And you are correct that he wanted to fight Henry Cavill as
yeah.
Superman. He didn't want anybody else,
So
and that's
that
what the fans wanted. And then Cavill came out and made the announcement because Warner Brothers told him he could, that he was back as Superman, and obviously he was at the end of Black Adam there. And but what happened was then the new regime took over and threw all that out. So Henry
yeah,
Cavill just got
but they
thrown back out on
but
his
that's the thing.
face,
One thing
and the
that
fans are
kind of
pissed off.
pissed me off is that they didn't back Cavill, into the role, but then they said that they were going to keep Miller, who to me is a way worse human being than Cavill. I
But
mean,
Yeah, Henry
honestly,
Cavill is probably one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. That's
he
from
really
I'm
Hollywood,
is.
going to be honest. He's probably one of my biggest man crush to life. Anything he does, I watch because I know it respect the source material as much as it could. Because he's a good actor. He's just so charming, and he's like, I saw the movie The Immortal, terrible movie. He did great.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
And he was
yes, I
great in
remember that one.
Mission Impossible,
yeah. Actually,
which
because
as
he
a
was in
villain,
that, I went and I missed from movie 3. Like I watched the first two MI, and then after that, I just I'm not a biggest Tom Cruise fan. But then I rewatched
well, you're talking
everything
to one.
because I went. I
Because
like Tom Cruise is a
it's
good
awesome.
actor. I don't
Well, being in the business, I understand. I mean, what he did, like for Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part One, there was the blow up on set that he had because somebody wasn't wearing their mask because of COVID and all that,
yeah,
and he puts his not just his life on the line doing his stunts, which I respect, but as a producer, he's putting his money on the line, and
yeah.
that and I respect him from the business sense of it, and he's one of the last bankable actors. Top Gun Maverick saved the film industry during
Oh yeah,
the
I
lockdown.
watched it
You
in
know,
theaters. I loved it.
I could
Such a
watch
good movie.
Maverick over and over. It's
Yeah.
even better than the original, and it's hard to
Well,
make something
I
better
wouldn't
than
go
the
as far
original.
as there was a lot more Val Kilmer in the first one. But man, I almost cried. No, I did cry, man, when I saw Val Kilmer. Did you watch the documentary Val?
I saw most of it. Yeah,
I
it's
watched the whole thing, and
heartbreaking.
it's the most heartbreaking story ever. Because I was a big Val Kilmer fan. I still am. Top Secret, The Saint, The
Top
Saint.
secret.
Yeah, Top Secret was awesome, but The Saint to me is a great movie because of
Oh,
all the
I love
character
the
he's
Saint.
able to do in that.
I'm gonna,
Tombstone, even Batman.
Oh,
I was gonna
Tombstone.
Terrible
say
Batman, but
Batman. He wasn't a bad Batman.
he wasn't.
You
No,
know,
no, no, no. Hold on. He
He
was
was
a
much.
terrible Batman. He was a great Bruce Wayne.
He was a
He
great
had
Bruce Wayne.
the depressing aspect of Bruce Wayne where he wants to kill people and kill himself, but he's still gonna go on. He had that feel. So
And
it
oh
was
my
there's
just a
God.
something I
terrible
want to say
movie.
about Batman that I can't say because y'all haven't seen The Flash,
Oh man, they
and
already
it's not
spoiled
what you
it.
think.
They already spoiled it. The
Yeah,
thing
it's
at
it's
the end.
spoiled, but I'm gonna watch The Flash eventually when it comes out,
See,
and
and that's
I just
it.
won't
I don't
buy
know
it.
if y'all saw the numbers for that, but it took a 72% slide, and at this point, it's lower in the box office than Green Lantern was,
Yeah,
Oh my
and that was
God.
but I think it's because people just
they
want to
didn't show
boycott
up
the
for it.
actor. That's why.
But I'm telling you that there's going to be a lot of bombs this year, and Blue Beetle, even though it's supposed to be the first in the new James Gunn, it
It's
looks fun, but it's not going to be big.
No,
It may do okay,
here's
but a lot of people are going to flop,
well,
and then
Aquaman 2 is
Aquaman is
gonna
going to
flop.
be terrible.
here's the
Aquaman,
thing. The people
there,
that they're trying to sell that movie to don't give two craps about Jaime Reyes as the Blue Beetle. My
Yeah,
Blue Beetle is Ted Cord, and it'll always be Ted Cord. I don't care how many times he gets killed off in the comic books. It's Ted Cord.
and
yeah.
they did a good version of Blue Beetle on Smallville. Remember?
No, I
He
don't.
when they had Booster Gold,
Yeah.
the
Oh
episode with
yeah.
Booster
Yeah.
Gold.
Yeah. That one episode, but he was
Yeah,
a big
Yeah,
hulking Blue Beetle.
I'm subscribed to Michael Rosenbaum Inside of You podcast.
Oh, you know what? I haven't subscribed to him, but I've watched bits and pieces of it
y'all
here and there, and
y'all need to see the one about Will Wheaton.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
watched
it's
that
Can't
one.
wait.
freaking
We'll talk about
amazing.
it.
Will
Oh my
Wheaton
God, I
is.
was about in tears watching that.
I
What an
have
incredible
so
story
much
he
more
had.
respect for Will after that. Like
Me
he went
too.
through all
And
this shit and still
You
made it.
you obviously never followed him on Twitter.
No, I don't. I don't have Twitter.
Oh,
Twitter shit.
you yeah, I had to unfollow him because all he ever talked about was his Spotify playlist that he was listening to while he was writing and making homebrew.
Oh, okay.
well, another excellent episode of that of Michael Rosenbaum's podcast was with number one. Help me out, Will Riker.
Will Riker.
Riker,
Yeah, that was
yeah.
a good one.
Oh my God, he is so cool as a person. I mean, so personable. That was a fantastic interview there.
One of the
With,
good one also he had is that girl that escaped and ratted out on Nexium, that cult that Allison Mack was part of.
Oh, I haven't watched that one, but I
This
saw
is
it popped up on my feed the other day.
it's a good interview. And then after that, go watch. There's a documentary called "The Rise and Fall of Allison Mack," and it's all about the whole Nexium scandal and all that stuff. And it's mind-boggling that smart people can fall for this trap.
somebody
It's
cue the Smallville theme.
Yeah, it is just.
I don't even
And
remember it.
Rosenbaum, even
Somebody
when
save
he
me.
said it,
Oh,
he had incidents with her when she came by, like,
oh
and
yeah, yeah.
pretty much
Like her
invited
and
us
a
in
group of those people came to his house one
and
day
just
and like
started
moved
cooking.
in.
And he's like, "Get out, get out! Hey, MCDJ, ACDC, or Meg DJ, we don't know."
Oh, thank you, MCDJ CDC.
So yeah, it's no, the industry of movie anyway. To go back to the DCU, Flash is going to. It's still gonna keep going down. Aquaman 2 should be a
It's gonna be a.
direct TV
It's
It's
gonna
release.
sink.
it's gonna no, it ain't gonna sink because it's gonna be a turd.
Yeah,
It's gonna float.
I don't think it's gonna float that long, but No, they should
What?
do a direct streaming release instead of
Well,
movie,
the thing
so
is,
that you
they
don't
they
want to have
made the
that.
Flash movie and Aquaman. At this point, they're irrelevant. There's no consequences because they're not part of a universe
It
anymore.
doesn't count
Yeah.
toward
You know,
anything. I mean, ever since they made the announcement that James Gunn took over and that he was going to reboot everything, the box office for that stuff has even been
Yeah.
worse than what it would have been in the first place
But
because
you know,
that
nobody
was the
gives a
most
crap.
underwhelming announcement. I had zero excitement for what James Gunn is
yeah. Well,
planning.
go watch the interview that he did with Michael Rosenbaum actually 2-3 weeks ago. James Gunn is a lot more interesting than what the media is letting on.
Oh, I think he's
Don't get me
an
don't get me
interesting
wrong.
guy.
He is a great director. I mean,
Mhm.
look at Guardians. I mean, Guardians 3 was great.
I haven't
I
seen it yet.
enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That's his swan song. Oh, can't say anything. Oh, I'm sorry, Caveman. You don't go to the movies anymore. Like
Yeah, I don't
do.
go to the movies anymore. I'll wait
I
till it
live
comes to
there,
streaming.
but
All right.
I
Well, did you see
only
Rise of the
saw it
Beast?
3 times.
No, I haven't seen that yet either. I'm gonna wait. I'll wait till it comes on video.
Okay.
I'm
I had a stream about it.
the only. Yeah, I know you invited me and I couldn't come on because I hadn't seen it. And the only one of those live action Transformers movies that I even half care about was Bumblebee.
I haven't
And
bought this one. I bought the other the first three because I used to have an attachment to DVDs when they were popular. I have a huge collection of old DVDs. Well, not huge, but a couple shelves.
I have Blu-rays that I've never opened.
Well, no, I open and watch.
It's like,
Say, if I buy a movie, I'm going to watch it like 10 times. And I discovered that with the first 1995 Mortal Kombat. I rented that movie about 20 times. Me and my sister knew every line. So then I bought it, and I decided if I'm going to rent it a second time, I'm going to buy it instead. So
yes, as long as you hadn't watched Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and oh my
I
god,
actually
that's
watched that one many times as well.
Oh, I watched it once. I tried to watch it a second time. I could not. I couldn't even push through it, man.
Once you
I
get
pushed
past
through some bad movies, but that one I couldn't do it.
No, once you pass the bad effect and the completely mashed up storyline of Mortal Kombat 2 and 3 and the bad acting and it's not that bad.
Now, the first one was good. And the new one, I enjoyed the new one.
Yeah, I did.
Seen Rise of the Beast. Oh no, wait, you're talking about Mortal Kombat. Sorry.
Yeah, the new Mortal Kombat looks it's pretty good, but
the
now
last
they announced
Mortal
the
Kombat I
second
saw
one.
I thought it was good.
Yeah. Yeah, the reimagination, I guess, or where Scorpion is actually it's not a tournament. That's kind of the part I didn't like. I'm like, I like the idea of a tournament, but the focus is no longer on Liu Kang, so I think that's I don't know. That Cole guy wasn't interesting. Sub-Zero is way too powerful. He's like super grandmaster of the Lin Kuei.
I can make it snow.
Yeah, so that was something. But Scorpion was really I like that actor. Can't pronounce his name, but I like him. And I thought the movie was good. Now they announced a sequel, and there was a lot of talk for what's his name? The guy who played McCoy in the new Star Trek movies.
Carl Urban.
There was a rumor that he was in talks to do Johnny Cage. And I was like, I see it. I
can see that.
It.
Maybe.
He would have been a great Johnny Cage. The arrogance, but now I think they went with someone else. So, and there was a talk about some wrestler. I don't know who he's called, the Ma or something. Anyway.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I don't follow wrestling.
Neither.
I haven't really followed it since the 80s.
Oh,
and
no.
That was it.
Late 90s.
Hey, what about Transformers? Since you do a lot, I know you haven't watched the movie Rise of the Beast, Caveman, but I saw it. I thought it was pretty good. So, for Bumblebee, we're not doing Bayformers anymore,
We're not.
Well, it seems like from what I do know of it, they're going to be kind of following the same pattern of there
Hey,
not
Larkin,
really
dude,
being
you have
any
a legend in the
continuity
chat.
in
Yeah,
it, because in Bumblebee they had Wheeljack, and he had his classic look with the light up doodads on the side of his head, and then in the new movie he just looks like a robot nerd.
yeah. That's
That was one of the big things about the Bayverse that really pissed me off, was that there was no continuity in between any of the movies. None of them.
well. Now there's even less. Like, if people are still telling you that there's connection between Bumblebee and the 5 previous movie, Rise of the Beast completely destroy any possibility because they didn't tie it at all. The only way it could have been tied is if Scourge, Battletrap, and Nightbird would have been survivors of the Bayverse that Unicron destroyed, and then Unicron moved to the new universe. That could have tied in the 5 other movies with this continuity. But they don't do that. They don't mention it. And there's no way you can connect everything together. So it's a new beginning, like the B movie. Like it B is the first one. Rise of the Beast is the second. They're gonna make 2 more, and let's forget the Bayverse. It wouldn't
Oh,
be
that's
Honestly, it
point.
needed
that's
to
fine.
die. It needed to die. The
Even Michael
Bayverse.
Bay said it in an interview. He said
He
the
just got
last
tired of it.
the number 4 and 5 we shouldn't have done it. So
It was just all about the money. And
But
Larkin, you
I'm
are right.
enjoying
If
it
they'd
though.
have named him anything other than Wheeljack, people would have probably been fine with it.
while he was still a shit character, but the
They
robot
could have,
design.
with the glasses and all that, they could have
Yeah.
just called him Perceptor,
No,
even though
Hercule.
he didn't turn
No,
into
not Perceptor. Yeah, he would have been
Hey,
called like.
Caveman. We've got a lot of comments here from Larkin's Lair in here. Do you want me to
Mhm.
monitor the chat or?
You can't. I've been responding to him, not
Oh, okay.
verbally,
Well, I
not
don't know if you wanted to.
chat wise.
They were just saying that they liked Rise of the Beast. One of the things.
Yeah, we
And,
could
but
both.
yeah, you can help monitor that. And Lone
Both
Dragon,
Digital and
hello,
I could
welcome.
learn a lot from Larkin because he kind of
Oh
quadrupled his
my
view.
God, he's got
Yeah,
like a
hey, last year, man,
bazillion.
2022 was the year of Larkin. Every week a new milestone post. I'm
It
like,
was just
man,
he was already pretty big, and then it was
yeah.
like he just blew up. And
So
on Instagram too, I believe. Is that right, Larkin? You blew up on Instagram too, right?
I think that is Larkin on Instagram. I mean, I gotta find that.
Oh yeah, he's on Instagram.
Maybe I haven't seen it. I pretty much follow the same people on Instagram and oh yeah, Larkin Vane. All right, let me click on that. Oh yeah, I'm following him. All right, 1,480 followers. So a percentage of that from YouTube.
Yeah.
But Deluxe Baldwin blew up on
Oh yeah,
Instagram.
he did too. And
Yeah.
in fact, I was talking to Deluxe. I was trying to get him to come on tonight, but he had something come up at the last minute.
Oh, that's my wife.
And
there you go.
greetings, Catherine. Welcome.
She's upstairs. She just got back from work and she comes here to say hi. No, Larkin, it's not luck. It's content. You put out great content and people just jumped at your channel. I have to say, like, my goal is not to get to 100,000. My goal is actually, I'm just trying to see if I can make it to 1,000 eventually. And once I've reached that, maybe, that's going to be, I don't think I'm going to blow up.
It seems like there's like when you get to a certain point, it is just that happens, that you get more coverage, I guess. I mean, the YouTube promotes you more, I guess.
I think it
when
goes
you
by
get to that
attrition.
point.
I think it's because when I started, a lot of people started doing YouTube as well. Because I had been thinking about doing it, and then Kato encouraged me to start it, and I did. I have nowhere near the growth that he had when he started 2 years before me. Um, and I think that's just because the whole COVID fad was out. Remember the COVID years? We were 50 people in every chat, either being Deluxe, Kato,
Oh
or
yeah,
Patriot
yeah,
Prime.
and
This is where we all met. This is where Lone Dragon, who's in the chat right now, this is how I got my Elita 1 figure. Or was it Bumblebee? No, it was Bumblebee. Somebody else sent me Elita. He sent me my Netflix
Alita
Bumblebee.
Battle Angel was a highly underrated film, and we should have gotten a sequel for that. I thought it was a very good
I
film.
like that
Yeah,
movie.
it's a great
It
movie.
was good. And yeah, Lone
But you know,
Dragon
you know,
says his goal is to get butt dialed by Greg Berger.
No, I get butt. No. He's laughing at me now because I got butt dialed by Greg Berger. So just for Ed, basically, I interviewed an actor called Greg Berger, who's the voice of Grimlock and Jetfire and other characters. And yeah, I have his phone number, and once in a while, he pocket dials me. He doesn't say anything. I can just hear him do stuff in his house. So the first time it happened, I was like, Mr. Berger, Mr. Berger. Eventually, I just stopped talking. I'm just listening. Does it sound bad? No. Okay, goodbye. So
he's on set.
yeah.
Yeah, Larkin's right.
Oh, man, imagine that.
The
I
algorithm.
imagine that. I get a call, a butt dial from Greg Berger as he's recording lines for a new show. Man,
That would be
I'd
awesome.
record that like in a second.
Except if you posted on YouTube, you'd get
Oh
like
yeah,
the
I'm
next
dead.
day a cease and desist letter.
Yeah, exactly. So, oh yeah, I did my collection tour this week. I dusted everything off, and now over here I have. Well, actually, I have the Greg Berger section of my collection. It's just Jetfire and Gridlock and a picture of Greg Berger. That's all I got for Greg. I'm actually going to TFCon Toronto in about 3-4 weeks on the 14th. It's 14, 15, 16. I wasn't supposed to go, but during my interview with Paul Eiding, he let it slip that he just got confirmation he was going there. And I'm like, I don't think that's announced yet. He's like, you sure? Pretty sure. The last announcement was Frank Dorado, who's Starscream in the Netflix show. And he's like, oh, well, I guess, And then he said, he screamed, not screamed, but he said, oh, sorry, Colin, who's, I guess, his contact at TFCon. And so now I wasn't supposed to go, but now I bought my ticket. I'm going to go meet Paul in person, shake his hand, and have an autograph. But while I'm there, I'm going to try to get Venus Terzo for an interview. And maybe I'll do the Frank Dorado. Like, I'm just trying to get actors now to come. And, I try to do just the actors I did a voice actor spotlight on, because that's my way in. If they see it, if they like it, then they're going to be more inclined to say yes.
Right.
And but I don't know if an actor that didn't have the a spotlight, would he be as inclined to come in and talk about things? So, and since I haven't researched him, what do I ask him? I don't want to have like the same generic question all the time.
Right.
I want to vary my question. Like Paul Eiding, we spoke about his time in the German 3rd Infantry Glee Club. We talk about war and how do you shoot people during the day and avoid getting shot, to playing guitar at night and entertaining people that just went possibly traumatic experiences.
Right.
We talked about that, But with Greg Berger, we talked about Attack of the Killer Tomatoes that he was in. I tried to tailor my interview to the actors,
Right.
So
right. Oh, Princeton Flanks 59. Greetings. Welcome.
Great. Always a great guy. Always. You don't do premieres, right? No, because you do a video a day.
I did 1 years ago. I say years ago, like I've been doing this for 20 years, but I think in my first year I did one premiere, which was the Netflix mystery pack number 2 or was it number 3? The one with Megatron and the fossilizer,
Right? Okay.
Skelavore. And now I just upload my stuff and let it drop at midnight. And as soon as it's dropping, I'm getting 2 or 3 views.
Oh, well, that's nice.
And so I guess it's the right time to drop it, so people's got to hold
See,
the
I've
whole day to.
always done premieres on my videos because when I was on YouTube, when I started watching Rodimus Primal and Kato and all these guys, there was a lot of live stream and chatting, and I really like interacting with people. So I just wanted to. My first one, I did a premiere, and because I think Larkin even promoted it on his channel, and Kato, and all the people just kind of went, okay, let's watch it. And I immediately got addicted to premieres. I'm like, this is fun. Nowadays, Princeton's there, Lone Dragon is there once in a while. Um, I get my like I don't want to say my usual, but there's David CT and there's Chauncey and
Well,
Devoid of Logic. People that just come for the
there,
chat. So I
you
always,
do have your regular people that are your,
yeah,
that follow a lot, if not all of your content.
yeah. I
And
I
and you have to start small. I mean, everybody thinks they need the big person on there, the great interview, and that's always good for numbers.
yeah
But like I've interviewed so many people, and when you interview them, yeah, I did 14 pages on one of my guests when I did Spin on Film podcast. I came up with 14 pages of information on that person, and then when we got to doing the podcast, which was actually a live radio show as well, I just took my little outline that I had in my notes and just put them aside, and it became a conversation
yeah
that talked a little bit about what they were doing. But this person was actually heading in a different direction with their career, and they hadn't told me that. And so the advice I could give is that you have to pivot. Not every interview is going to be the same, and you don't want it to be robotic. You got to
no
kind of go with what's in your heart and what you really. It's really about that guest. Like when I interview somebody, I try to take myself out of it, and I'm just trying to put a spotlight on that person. And it's not just an IMDb of what they've done. That's a good guideline, like it's in the film industry, as an example. But it it just gives you some jump off points, and there might be something in there that you say, well, you drove a Corvette, and this person might like a Corvette or something, and that it
hmm
could go off on a tangent, but that guest is going to think well of you because you just didn't go by the numbers. You just didn't say, well, you were in this movie in 1986, and then you did this in 1992, and whatever. Yeah,
yeah
it's about finding the authenticity in your own voice,
yeah.
and
I just
and and,
I just
and I think that
watched
helps.
I just watched probably one of the worst interview I've ever seen. A comedian called Stuart Francis. He's Canadian, and he's the king of one-liners. Like that's all he does, And sometimes it's just simple jokes, like he's playing frisbee, and he said he's wondering why the frisbee looks bigger as it gets toward him, and then it hit him. Like it kind of those one-liner stuff. And he's being interviewed by some guy who interviews a lot of people, and it's just a paper, and he's reading the line, and then the comedian answers and makes a joke, and he doesn't laugh, and then and it's not funny. It's not like he's trying not to laugh
Right.
to make it funny. It's just there's no reaction. Then reads the next question, and you can see all the comedian is just cringing, like, what the heck is this? I try to make it a conversation. I try to tailor it to the actor. But also Patriot Prime does is segment the sit rep, or
Hmm.
he used to do. He hasn't done one in a
Yeah, he
while.
hadn't done one in a while.
And but he always asks the same question, and I think for him that's absolutely fitting because these are the questions that you need to answer if you're a collector and if you're a YouTuber. We haven't done great work. We haven't done amazing. We haven't had amazing YouTube careers and stuff like that. The conversation would just be, oh, I collect Transformers. So he has to drive those people. And Also, a lot of YouTubers are really comfortable behind a camera just talking about the toys and reviewing the toys. But when you interact with them, it's a whole different ball game. Sometimes,
That's very true because like
yeah,
many people that I've interviewed in the film industry, even actors, I've had actors on there that would get total stage fright even though they were on the radio, and it's like
yeah,
um, they just some people aren't comfortable in front of the
no,
camera, unless it's a part, where it's something they've rehearsed. There's a lot of people that have that shyness, and maybe I think we ought to be interviewing Caveman here about his 500th episode here. I think we
Yes.
should. Don't you think we
You know,
should drill into him a little bit and ask you why, how you got
about
started, and
about that, I see that Larkin said that he watched it today, and it's still available on Amazon. Larkin, I don't have a link for it or an affiliate link or
oh,
anything
the
like
X-Men
that.
villains.
Yeah, the villains pack that
No,
dropped
get it,
today.
Larkin. You have to get it on DJC Collectibles. It's still there. That's the best place. You have to get it on DJC Collectible. That's my sponsor, so I
but
have to plug him all the time.
but Larkin, which one was your favorite figure? Or did you have a favorite figure out of that? Or Raz and
Random,
Ed, you guys too. I think I know which one yours was, Raz.
random. It's random. He's such a low-level mutant. Um, Silver Rogue. That's Arclight. I think that's what he means.
what's the
But
question?
yeah, the
Silver
no
Rogue.
the random is a low-level mutant, and who anything you throw at him, he's going to adapt to it and overcome it. And I think that's fantastic. And he was such a jerk. Loved it. He
Oh,
was.
Larkin, you're talking about the one that was in the comparisons, that rogue.
Oh,
That's she's not silver. That's probably just where the chroma key screwed up some. But I got that rogue from Hasbro Pulse,
um,
and
another thing.
they're calling it the '80s rogue. I actually did a review on it a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, that's another thing I don't like, Pulse, because in Canada we don't have the free shipping option. We don't have. We can subscribe and be a member, and have that, first pick on figures.
Right, but it
But
just
the
still costs you the
shipping,
extra shipping.
the ship. Okay, like I ordered Tiger Track one time because it was a gift for my kid and everything. So I had already promised him, and at the time I wasn't too good or knowledgeable of all the online stores. So you don't get, so it's free ship continental US shipping. That's even worse. And I ordered Tiger Track, $30 Canadian. Well, it was 19.99 and then 30, I think $32 with taxes. And I paid the exact same amount for shipping. So $64 for a $19 US figure. I paid 64 Canadian for it. So, and even just Larkin store on Etsy and Fire Talk stuff, I want to get them. I so desperately want the Larkin's Rhinox gun, but for the piece, I think it's 14 for two. I'm not too sure. I don't recall. It's been a while, but the shipping is double the amount of the price of the item, so I just can't justify it. So yeah.
Yeah, it seems like there's enough interest in the stuff up there
You
that
serious, Larkin? I'm
they
shooting
would
that to you right
open,
now.
a pulse offshoot in Canada just like they did in the UK.
Well, yeah, they have their own pulse now.
Oh,
What is it?
Raz, did you see Larkin said message him? He
Yeah,
sends you
yeah,
one.
I saw that. I'm going on Messenger right now because I'll pay for the thing. But if you can put it in an envelope and just ship it to me, well, I'll PayPal you or something. All right, hold on. Yeah, okay, I'm writing it down right now in on Facebook Messenger, Larkin. You guys keep going. I'm just gonna do that right now.
And so okay, Ed, did you watch episode 500? Yeah, that's what I thought.
I had a little schoolwork. I didn't actually get to it, and
Yeah, that was
I'm a new father, so
that was a pretty long one.
yeah.
But you know, it's
I'm a new dad, so
yes. You didn't bring Barkley in with you?
no. He's retired for the evening,
Oh, okay, okay.
but yeah. But
All right, done.
what was the question though, like related to? I mean, or I will watch it, I promise. But you were asking like what our favorite was it our favorite X-Men character or
Yeah, your favorite your favorite out of this 5-pack. It was Strife,
Okay.
Zero, Pretty Boy, Vertigo, and Zero. Or did I say Zero twice?
no? You
Hey,
only said
Larkin,
zero
Larkin,
once. It would
he got a puppy.
okay, yeah. I got a
No.
puppy. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah,
He not a baby daddy. He a
no.
puppy
I'm
daddy.
not a baby daddy.
No.
Um, but easily
Random. That was the other one.
hands down for
There's
me, the
random
best. Yeah,
See, I wanted to buy it for one of my friend.
Zero,
zero.
which he was the
Zero is
guy that
just
always
cool.
hang out with Strife that makes the portals.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we've got Vertigo,
From
who
X-Men.
was one of the Marauders.
Yeah,
You
but
remember
she
the
got
Mutant Massacre storyline?
yes, I own it. She's a shit
Oh, I
character
love
though.
that.
Like her powers are
She
terrible.
is. I really wish this 5-pack would have been a Marauders set.
For me, it's
And
Strife.
then there's Pretty Boy. He's one of the Reavers.
Who's that guy? I've never heard of Pretty Boy.
Okay, he's one of the Reavers, and they're cyborg dudes that I don't know if you remember when the X-Men were everybody thought the X-Men were dead, and they were operating out of that ghost town in Australia
Yeah, I
in the
remember.
outback.
Well, I don't have any comics except for a couple, like the beginning of the Fall of Madeline Pryor. I
But
have.
anyway, the
Yeah.
Reavers, that was their base. The X-Men come in and basically kick their ass and kick them out of the base. And then later on, the Reavers come back, and then I don't know if you've ever seen that pretty famous cover of like Wolverine up on the X. He's like crucified, but it's on an X.
I did not, but I saw it on Wolverine. There's a storyline where Wolverine, like, pretty much that's how it starts again. But Jubilee's running away from all the women in Logan's life, like Yuriko and Yukio, but
Yeah,
they're all in green because Viper all drugged them to because Logan has to honor a debt where he has to marry her. So yeah, Logan was married to Viper for a while.
and then here is the prize out of that pack.
Hey, hold on.
Strife.
I am a big Cable fan. I've always been, and so that whole storyline when Strife came about, I
Oh,
love that.
you mean the
You like this
Executioner
guy?
song? Oh yeah,
Executioner
that's the
song,
one
yeah,
from Sasquatch Build a Wave,
yeah.
right?
Actually, yeah. Do you want the leg? I don't care about
No,
that.
I didn't have that whole wave, and I decided I wanted Sasquatch because I picked up the Alpha Flight pack,
Oh,
and I ended up getting
Oh,
it off of eBay for about $35.
the best incarnation for me. A lot of it was in the '90s. I don't know why I'm stuck in time there, but X-Men, Fox Kid. It was
okay. I'm
Fox
gonna show you
Kids.
something,
X-Men,
Ed. This here
the animated series. Love it.
is all my X-Men. This is except Secret Wars, it's all X-Men and New Mutants and X-Force and
And
Wolverine. This is
everything,
a whole. Oh, and my Age of
everything.
Apocalypse stuff right
Oh yeah,
there.
I have all the
Yeah.
comics from Age of Apocalypse.
I'm more of an
And
X-Men fan than I am a Marvel fan, I have to say.
yeah,
But
and
again, 80s, 90s,
you
some
know
70s.
you know who, when I started watching X-Men when it came out in what was it 96
92.
92, yeah.
92 to 96 because they're going to do X-Men 97 next year.
Oh wait, no, hold on. I was.
On Disney.
Is it 92? No. Sorry. Jim Lee started writing X-Men in 92, but I started watching X-Men when I got here in 90. I think the first year I got here was 93. And basically they did the animated based on the Jim Lee design from the storyline.
That's
Basically,
my definitive X-Men. and like they did Days of Future Past in there. They did, you know, so many things that that didn't. That was the only one that probably they were able to put on the big screen that actually worked. You know, in the X-Men live action movies, the best. But they did Dark Phoenix. They did everything on that animated series, and
Yeah, and it was
I'm excited
well
to see
done.
what Disney's going to do with X-Men '97 that's coming out. That's going to wrap up the series next year.
I don't
Yeah, I
think
hope they
it's
don't screw it
necessary.
up, but
They will, because they probably won't use the same actors. I mean, I
Well,
truly
I think they're trying to line everything up off of the
okay.
original show. I don't think the original showrunners, the husband and wife team, I think they're listed as executive producers. I don't think they're really having day to day,
Yeah,
you
what
know,
you know, there
interactions with it.
if you ever watched like an honest trailer of X-Men or something like that, is like they were talked about X-Men fighting stereotypes with stereotypes. It's kind of
Well, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and the series was very much of the time because they had like the VCR. Remember Jubilee melted the
Oh,
VCR in the
yeah,
first,
yeah.
you know,
yeah.
but
There
the
are parts of it that are
storylines
dated.
the storylines are very, very good in that series.
They
And
they
for me,
are
my favorite,
because
yeah, my favorite character was Cyclops, and that's the only time you see Cyclops not treated like a total punk in all the live action movies until maybe the last one. You know.
Cyclops in the animated show was less of a dick than he was in the comics. I have to
Well,
say.
yeah, in the comics he got pretty bad, but
Yeah,
yeah,
because I
yeah.
mean,
I mean,
at first it was just okay. So he abandons his wife and kid to start X Factor because Gene is back. That's a dick move. But then eventually you learn that he's being, he was
manipulated.
manipulated by Sinister, and that's why he did those things
wasn't
and
Emma
everything. So
Frost? Didn't Emma Frost have something to do with that, or am I?
No, no, no. That was
What am
later
I
on
thinking of?
during what the hell do they call it?
Schisms?
New X Men. Nah,
Was
New
that
X Men.
Schisms? Do y'all remember Schisms?
Yeah,
I thought that was really well done
yeah. When like
series.
Cyclops took
yeah,
half the X Men off to the island, and Wolverine
yeah.
took the other half off to back to
Oh, I gave up
Westchester.
after that because
It's just
the newer X Men I couldn't do it. But when
some of the
Cyclops became that martyr,
when they started doing some of that wacky shit in the early 2000s. I
I
couldn't read it no more.
I stayed like I watched basically like not watched but read. My friend has all of those comics. I read from let's say House of M all the way to Avenger versus X Men because that's one story arc
Yeah,
where all the mutants lose their power and eventually because of Hope and Scarlet Witch,
No more
they
mutants.
everybody gets their power back. So to me, that was the end of what I wanted to read. Because after that, Cyclops become a psychopath, and basically he
I
does
was
more harmful stuff than Magneto did. Takes super harsh decision, and then
you know,
eventually he goes to prison. And he wants to die so that he's going to become a martyr to his people. I'm like, nope, I can't read. And then they started with Thor Girl, and I just can't. And then they made Iceman gay for no reason. I mean, I have gay uncles and cousins. I don't care about that. But why do you take a straight character and just decide he's gay? That makes no sense. And the same thing if they would have taken the gay character and make it straight. I'm like, why? This makes no sense.
yeah. But see, there'd be an uproar about that.
Oh, there
But
was.
anyway, that's a different
Yeah, yeah.
conversation.
There's still an
Um,
uproar in the world right now onto the whole gender thing, and scientists from the
just
60s are
crickets on that one.
probably. I actually okay. Which Madeline Pryor do you want? You want
oh, he wants the Inferno one because that's the one everybody wants. And in fact, they were
you mean
counting
this
on
one
that to
here?
sell that stupid Ghost Rider car.
This one here? Yeah.
Yes, that one.
I have to say I don't collect legends. I have Cable. I have um, Spiral because
Oh, that's a fantastic figure.
I'm a huge. I don't know why. I never really read the Mojoverse comics. I watched the animated episodes where there's Mojo in, but I just love the idea of Spiral, the opening portals and having six arms, and I don't
Yeah,
know. So I got her when
it
she became on
it
pre-order.
is that retro carded spiral is fantastic. I just started taking a look at it the other day, getting ready to do the review on it, and it's fantastic. I mean, the articulation in all six of the
Yeah.
arms, and they're all pinless.
Well, it's kind of weird where they're pinned in her back. Like not in her back, but I mean the way they did the like it's not one on top of the other. It's like a triangle of pegs.
Yeah,
So
but you
that's
know what? That's a lot better than what they did with their they did that six armed Spider Man
probably
figure, and they just like his torso was one solid piece, and they just plugged arms into it, and
yeah.
it
So
it
it's
wasn't
just
it wasn't great.
yeah. But I'm so those are the only figure I have the Diamond Select Juggernaut because he's big and bulky, and Juggernaut is my favorite X Men villain ever. And I my sponsor gave me a broken Beta Ray Bill where he spinned like with the Stormbreaker spinning
Hmm.
gimmick. Not gimmick, but it's just a plaque, and
Right,
but that
right.
was broken, so I glued it. But because he already asked for a replacement, he said, "You want this one? It just there's a broken piece in it." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So those are the only four well, except my huge Galactus I bought 15 years ago. So I don't collect a lot of Marvel, but I do like the idea of just picking one here and there.
And
So
that's cool. And there's people that just collect. They might just collect stuff with Avengers or stuff with X Men, or
yeah,
and
like
that's cool
Cable is
too.
by far. I used to be the biggest Wolverine fan. Any kid, I was. He's Canadian. He's a badass. I love the animated. I love the comic book. I love Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and I'm excited for Deadpool 3 because he's coming back. But now that I've read a lot of the X Men,
Hmm.
pretty much it all revolves around Cable. From X Factor from the Madeline Pryor up until Avenger versus X Men, it's all because of Nathan. Basically, getting thrown in the future, coming back, and trying to prevent the
You got the
rise of
techno-organic virus
the
from
Immortals, and
Apocalypse, and they had to send them to the
yeah.
future. And
So it's really. Hey Larkin, maybe you should invite Larkin. Just ask him if he wants to join us because he's a great guy.
Larkin, do you want to jump in here? I can
You
send
want
you
to
the
jump
link,
in here,
man.
Larkin? Because you're a great guy, and I haven't had the chance to stream a lot with you because of the time zone.
Yeah. And Lone Dragon, I completely agree with we need a Rachel Summers already because I'm ready to complete that Excalibur team. It
Oh
was
yeah,
my
that's
favorite X-Men team, and I really think they should have put her in a 3-pack instead of Captain Britain, so that we got Rachel, Megan, and
well,
Shadowcat.
Captain Brennan's pretty important to Excalibur.
He
I mean,
is, but he's
he's not a
popular
mutant, right?
enough that they could have done him as a single release.
did y'all know that there were rumors months ago about Henry Cavill playing him,
Yeah, okay,
portraying him
Oh
on the
yeah,
big
yeah.
screen?
There's been off and on rumors for years.
yeah. But I mean, I love the X Men. The some Spider Man. I did. I prefer. A lot of people shit on the original Clone Saga. I love it. Clone Saga, Ben Riley, Scarlet Spider, all that thing. Love it. Oh, so he's being paid to chat. Well, that's cool.
I wish I had that job.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, it's I love the Clone Saga from Spider Man, and the Todd McFarlane design for Spider Man. Ben Riley was amazing. So really enjoyed that series, and Carnage, Maximum Carnage. It's one of the greatest you know co- comic crossover ever because you have all the other characters and the team ups and stuff. So, but mainly X Men. But Mainly Transformers. It's funny. I was thinking, that I love Transformer. Like, really got into it in the past 5 years. And then I started thinking, oh, wait, when did I get my DVDs? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that was like 12, 15 years ago. So, okay, I was still a big fan of Transformers then. And then I remember I downloaded all the episode when Napsters came out. And then after that, Kaza came out. And I downloaded all the Transformers episodes. And then I remember I watched Beast Wars and kept talking about it because it linked with G1, even though I didn't know what G1 was at the time. Like I knew G1, but the term G1,
Right. Right.
just wasn't around. And then I realized, man, I've been talking about Transformers since I'm like 8, or maybe less. So it's
Yes.
really.
And oh my God, my crack was for Transformers. My crack was the Marvel comics.
I'm actually reading those that you sent me, but I mean, reading on a computer is so hard for me. Having the comics, so I think
Right.
I'd have to
Right.
print them. But I'm having fun reading. I'm not far along though, because I'm trying to get into it. But to see the original design and the ideas and having Ravage stock, that's just wicked.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And it's so different than
it's
the
completely
cartoon.
new.
I mean, it's similar, but it's completely different at the same time.
Yeah, it's two separate universe, and the designs were different. Transformation looked weird on paper, but it's just a fun read. So I'm still digging through that. So
Yes,
so yeah.
and then there was the original GI Joe versus Transformers.
Oh, you haven't seen Rise of the
I
Beast
think I
yet,
sent
okay?
that to you too.
Yeah, I was gonna say you haven't seen Rise of the Beast.
Yeah, you haven't seen Rise of the Beast yet.
Well, I said the original. Hell,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
No,
think
but
was it
we're not spoiling
IDW
shit. We're not spoiling.
or IDW? Maybe it was Dreamwave did like a whole big series of GI Joe and Transformers. I
Yeah,
can't
they
remember
did, but
which
I
one it
think the
did.
original was Action Force in the UK with Transformers. Was it not?
Well, in the UK, it was like a lot of the stories in the beginning were different, but as you get into the Simon Furman stuff,
Yeah.
the stuff that he wrote, a lot of the stories are the same. But the difference with the UK stuff was like they might be in a magazine that was split with Transformers and Action Force, and you'd have like 8 pages of Transformers and 8 pages of Action Force.
Ah, okay, right.
So their format was a little bit different.
Oh yeah, Death's Head. Death's Head was
Yeah,
in.
Death's Head, because that's where he originated.
Yeah, and then after that, he became a regular sized Marvel character. Yeah, Circuit Breaker. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to read about is Circuit Breaker, because I keep hearing about her, but I really don't know anything about her.
Yeah, it's
So
like her origin starts in like 6 or 7,
okay,
and then her first appearance as Circuit Breaker wasn't until issue 9, I think.
so you see how far I'm not
And
along.
then she makes sporadic appearances throughout the rest of the series.
Yeah, well, just like a good recurring villain, come back once in a while and mess stuff up. So no,
And then they had their own like GB Blackrock, who was kind of like Tony Stark
right.
in Transformers, but he was just
Did you say
like a
BlackRock?
rich Blackrock. Yeah.
Okay, like the major investor in Hasbro right now, which is
Mhm.
Vanguard and BlackRock. Okay, cool. I think BlackRock was probably around in the 80s as well, so that's probably why they named a character like that. So,
Yes, Larkin, that would be so great, but
I'm
there's so many rights issues with that. It's like Marvel owns the rights, but they don't own the rights to do stuff like that. It's really weird.
yeah, well, it's all yeah. My greatest wish right now is to get a Marvel Legend / GI Joe classified style figures of every humanoid in starting with G1. So you get Spike, Sparkplug, Carly, Daniel, Skip. with a wheelchair.
Buster
Um,
from the comics.
Buster, Doctor Archival, Slug Sword, and the other one. There's Slug Sword. What's the other one? Slizardo. Even the Aaron, and then the guy that helped Smokescreen and the Gambler, and all those humanoids. Marissa Fairborn. I'd love to get a Marissa Fairborn. I'd
And
like to have a animated
you know,
style.
you know what would really work with that is if Hasbro was to go back and do mask figures again with the vehicles and stuff, and do them in uh 132 scale with
Yeah,
the current Transformers will probably be a little bit too small, but do it where it's close enough that the figures could be used with the Transformers and be
yeah.
close in scale.
I mean,
That would be cool.
I could go with, you know, a smaller line, like core class. I mean, like let's say this size of a human, but it would have to still be detailed and articulated. Because I do have a skip that came with the Masterpiece Sunstreaker, but it's just a static piece of plastic that doesn't move.
Right, right. The
So
and it would be cool if a company like Jada would just do diecast versions of those characters too,
I would love,
because those figures they're not. I don't think they're true 132 scale, but they are close.
yeah, yeah, something like that. This size, that'd be nice. Have you seen my video where
Oh, so
I theorized? It was 3 days ago, where I theorized that Jada Toys for the Series 2 Nanometal figs, they received an early cast of Rise of the Beast instead of other G1 characters.
Yeah, it could be, or it could just be
It could be
that they
coincidence.
go, well, what else can we do in a second pack that big? Well, let's throw some Beast Wars stuff in it because people really like that.
Yeah, but if you
You
look at the Jada Toys Series 2, it's the four Maximals that we got in the Rise of the Beast. And then there's Scourge and Battle Trap. Battle Trap is my main trigger for that video is that Battle Trap. I
that
never
may
heard
be
of that
because he's
character ever before.
yeah, Battle Trap isn't one of the main characters that people usually talk about when they talk about Beast Wars.
Or not even
It's
Beast Wars, just Transformers in general. Because
just
Battle Trap was a
oh, he was the tow truck, right?
something like that. Oh, in the movie, yes, but I mean in the Jada Toy Series 2, he's I think a plane. Like he's not a major G1 character. So they have a Optimus Primary issue. They have an extra wheeljack in the Series 2. Why did we get an extra wheeljack? I'm guessing that they got a list of characters that might have appeared in Rise of the Beast instead of receiving, a list. Because if you think about it, all the most of the Jada 2 characters, exactly, it was a Duocon. So it made no sense to have him in that box because there's no other Duocons. They have Scorponok in that series too, without Fortress Maximus, so that makes no sense. But they do have a Scorponok in the Rise of the Beast movie. So the Jada 2 Series 2 pack, I'm thinking was supposed to be uh, a list for Rise of the Beast characters. So that's just one conspiracy theory that I have.
What are you throwing around, Ed?
I was trying to take a picture of some of my X-Men books that I had here, like Mutant Massacre and all that, and I was going to show it on my phone.
Oh,
But
I loved Mutant Massacre is one of my favorite crossover stories because it had such
It had Thor.
long-reaching, just the fact that they destroyed the Angel's wings, and then in just a little bit later in X Factor, he comes back as Archangel, and I mean
I have this
that
one.
was one of the most impactful.
I don't collect a lot of
I
comic books,
agree.
but I do have a lot of compilations or
The
trade
trades.
paperback. Yeah, and the reason I really wanted to have older is because I wanted to have when Nathan is shipped to the future, and to have that whole cable connection. And it was so interesting to see how they destroyed Archangel, and then how Apocalypse brought him back. And the only thing I'm missing in story wise is when, oh God, what's his name? He was the accountant slash manager of X Factor, and then he became
The guy that ended up going to Genosha.
yeah, yeah, and now he's a
He
immortal.
was
He made a deal with
Warren's
the
lawyer,
devil,
Cameron Hodge. That was his
Cameron
name.
Hodge.
Cameron
So
Hodge.
the only thing I'm missing is Hodge. Basically, when he arranged for Archangel's plane to blow up, and because when there was something like he didn't have any his wings and he was going away, and before Apocalypse grabbed him, so I think they were in cahoots. But I'm missing that part when he gets captured. But I do have his rebirth and how they freed him from Apocalypse and everything. So
Well,
Yeah, Walt Simmons, and I love just about anything that he writes.
yeah,
And if he writes it and draws it, it's awesome. I love his run on Thor. I love his run on X Factor. Um, those are the
I
two that really spring to mind.
you know,
His most prolific work.
one of my favorite storylines of all time was once again in the 90s was Onslaught. I just
I have that.
See,
I have all of that.
I was out of it by that time. I think the last stuff that I actively collected in the 90s was the beginning of the Phalanx Covenant, where Warlock's people came and tried to take over the Earth.
I don't. Man, it's been a while. I don't think I have the Phalanx. But when I moved from up north Quebec, where it's all French, and to Gatineau in 1993. Actually, I realized it's going to be 30 years this July 1st that I moved from my native land to down here, and that's when I started working at a corner store. Not long after, and that's when I started reading comic books because we didn't have that much of a market for comic books back then up north. And I came in right after Onslaught. That's when I started reading actively comic books. So I dealt with the post Onslaught
Oh,
X-Men universe.
the
I've got like
heroes.
everything leading
Oh,
up
oh.
to it. I have the individual comics, and I actually have they used to call it the omnibus. I don't know if
Omnibus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's still an
it's like the
omnibus.
still is.
same, all of it collected, and
Yeah, except
pretty
when
amazing.
it comes to Age of Apocalypse, it ain't all of them. There's like 4 or 5 of those omnibus
Well, I have
editions in order to
and
get the whole thing.
one of
I
my
have
favorite
two.
characters was X-Man, Nate Summers.
Nate Gray.
Oh
Nate
yeah.
Gray, excuse me, not Summers Gray. But I really enjoyed that. Was
Yeah.
a new character, and just
Nate
the
Gray
whole
was
storyline. I loved
I
it.
I like the fact that he survived the Age of Apocalypse through the Macron crystal, but it was still, to have him and Cable in the same universe. Oh, that's one thing. That's another reason why I stopped reading comic books is that there's one storyline that I saw afterwards when after Cyclops died, and then at one point there's a young Cable that comes back, shoot and kills old Cable, and bring back to life Cyclops. And I just saw a glimpse of that, and I'm like, no, I'm done. I can't. If you destroy Cable as he was, I can't because he's my main attachment to this whole franchise.
The thing for me when at the end of Deadpool, when Ryan Reynolds Deadpool said that Cable was going to be in the next one, I got so terrified that they would screw it up. That whoever was going to play Cable, because we didn't know who at the time, didn't know it was Josh Brolin who played Thanos and Cable in the same year in two fantastic films, probably two of the best superhero films. And to this day, I think I might like Deadpool 2 better than the first because Josh Brolin nailed it. I mean, I don't think you could have asked for a better version of Cable in live action than Josh
They screwed him up just a little bit, because he's not from the year 3999, and because he comes back because his wife died in a fire caused by um, what's his name? Rusty
Apocalypse.
Collins.
Oh,
How
Rusty.
I almost said Pyro.
no. But how obscure was that? It took me two watch to realize that was Rusty Collins, because Rusty was a character in the original X Factor.
Yep.
He's one of
He
the
was one of
first
them
kid that they help,
runaway,
but
and then he
and then
was
after that
in
he gets brainwashed by Strife,
Strife.
and he
Hmm.
joins the MLF. And to have Rusty in the Deadpool movie, I'm like, man, they went and dug up some old corpse for that. But it was cool. He was well done.
You
You
know
know,
what
he
terrifies me though, I don't know if y'all are aware of this, if you've heard this, but with the writer's strike going on, they have to stick to because they're actually filming as we speak. They're supposed to be in production and filming Deadpool 3 or Deadpool and Wolverine Kill
Deadpool and
the
Wolverine.
Marvel
yeah,
Universe, whatever they're going to call it, Deadpool 3. Uh,
They're gonna
um,
call it Ryan and
but
Hugh.
but the thing about it is, what makes Deadpool so good is the wisecracking part of his character, and Ryan Reynolds is so perfectly fit for that role. But with the writer's strike going on, he can't deviate from the script. So
exactly.
if it continues on the writer's strike, um, I worry that it's going to mess up
Yeah, because
Deadpool and Wolverine.
if he can't add that's a big part of what goes into those movies
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
is him
I
just
love
coming up with off the cuff shit.
I love the whole thing. Like Juggernaut was well done. I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
have
Juggernaut
preferred
was.
the
Oh my
Here comes a
god.
big CGI fight, right?
That reminds me. It doesn't matter, man. It could have been CGI all the way. I don't care because that Juggernaut was a billion times better than that crap we got from Brett Ratner in X3. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
yeah, but I mean, Vinny Jones is a big guy, but he's not Juggernaut big. I saw plenty of movie with Vinny Jones. Great actor, funny as hell, tough guy, but not a Juggernaut. You know, and the fact that he was a mutant, well, that sucked.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that they didn't touch in Deadpool 2 either. They didn't mention that he's Xavier's brother, or they didn't mention the Gem of Sitarak. And there you go.
Look at your Deadpool. That's crazy.
That's cool. That's a nice one. My son has the Deadpool versus the universe or something, and
Deadpool
there's
kills
a
the Marvel universe.
yeah. Well, no, it's not that one. It's another one. But basically, at one point, there's a watcher who's a Deadpool fan. So there's a Deadpool what you, you know. Oh yeah,
I
Deadpool
have
watching.
not
That's
heard that
crazy.
one.
yeah. It was. It's a good book. It's fun. That
You know who
they
my favorite
explain how
watcher
he gets
is?
a third personality in his rap
Guatu?
bubbles.
No, Stan
No,
Lee. Stan Lee.
he
Stanley
wasn't
was
a
Watu.
watcher.
Yeah,
He was just
that
They
hanging
made him
out
a
with.
watcher in live action.
probably the honestly not the greatest interpretation of Watu. Like, as it's nothing like the character, but I like the fact that they said that that's why Stan Lee is in every movie. It's basically Watu watching over the earth. So that and that's why, although I hated the Miss Marvel movie, the fact that she looks at Stanley in the bus and smirks at him because she knows he's a watcher, because of her cosmic sense. So I thought that was cool. But did you watch the What If series?
I
Oh, definitely,
loved it.
definitely.
I
It
was
was
dubious.
fantastic.
I
Oh
was
my
dubious,
gosh.
but then I liked it. Like when Ultron, who's now in the Vision body, when he realized that there's a Watcher and there's a multiverse, and I thought that was well done.
Well,
Oh
one of
yeah,
my
when he had
favorite
all the Infinity
characters out of
Stones.
one of my favorite characters in the MCU was Vision, and Paul Bettany played him to such
Yeah.
excellence. And
Well,
and I hate that we never saw a fully powered Vision, because I think if they would have shown the power level that he was capable of, we didn't see it until What If. And of course that was with the Infinity Stones, but without the Infinity
yeah.
Stones even,
But I mean,
we still didn't see the level that he was
the
capable of.
original one, the original
Is
Vision
that
didn't
Wanda?
have. Oh, that's
Yep.
the zombie Wanda.
Hmm.
Yeah. But the
Yeah.
original Vision didn't have the Mind Stone, right? So it was just thought patterns from Hank Pym. So
Yeah.
Yeah, they messed up the Vision's origin story so bad in the comics that he didn't. Nobody really knows where he came from. First of all, it was an android created strictly by
Ultron.
Ultron.
Yeah, he was
But
built
then
by Ultron
but
5.
then later on it comes out that Ultron got the original Human Torch, John Hammond, dug his body up because he was an android.
That's right.
And then they did that in West Coast Avengers, and it just it and the thing about, well, he's got Simon Williams brain patterns,
Oh
and then
yeah,
he
that's
had
right.
somebody
It's
else's
Simon
brain
Williams' brain
patterns,
pattern.
and
That's right.
it was
That was
really
reaching.
crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of characters have, messed up
Oh, they
origins
do
and
have
stuff like that.
convoluted. I mean, it's comic books sometimes are as bad as soap operas when it comes to
Yeah.
that. Nobody
Hey,
dies. The stories can change on a dime.
in the chat there, Lone Dragon said, I kind of hated the Party Thor episode, and I have to agree. And I don't know if it's
Yeah, if
because
I had to pick
Captain
one
Marvel,
episode out of the show that was the worst,
it was the weakest.
well, I won't say worst, but the weakest. Yeah, that would be it.
Yeah. Well, the whole Love and Thunder
Larkin,
movie.
don't no, you don't need to.
Yeah, Love and
You
Thunder
don't. It was
is
crap.
not good. Not
No,
it's
it's
just
not
not
good.
good. Even Chris Hemsworth, after the movie came out, he said he didn't want to work with Tahiki Waihiki, whatever his name.
Tiki
He said,
Watiti.
Taika Waititi, yeah,
yeah,
he
because
let the humor go too far. If they would have toned the humor down, it worked
Right.
in Ragnarok, but
exactly, it worked in
Yeah.
Ragnarok.
Yes, but
But, okay.
the story that they were trying to do in Love and Thunder,
Yeah, but
Gore the God Butcher, and they're trying to make it a comedy. No, that story
and now
should have been
Christian Bale
much
doesn't know how to
darker.
do a role bad. He does not know how to do a role bad. Okay, because Christian Bale, the way that Thor: Love and Thunder starts off with Gore the God Butcher, and if they would have kept that tone and not just go all whimsical through the
exactly,
film,
that would have been
Even
good.
it
even
would have been.
and
Someone
and
should have died. Chris
and
Hemsworth's Thor. As much as I didn't want to, I was going and expecting him to make an ultimate sacrifice, and maybe that's
Yeah.
why we had Jane Foster take over the mantle of Thor.
Yeah, but
But
then
even
now
then with-
she has cancer because of
Right.
and
Well,
Mjolnir is killing her, and it's,
that
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 was
whole
in the comics,
storyline
but
that whole storyline happened in the comics when she became Thor, and he was just the Odin's son, and
Yeah. unworthy Thor. So, but see, my problem with Thor is my wife, she likes the first one, she likes the second one, she doesn't like the Thor in the third one. She liked the movie, but not the personification of Thor in the movie.
Well, it was a big departure from
It was extremely
what they
different.
well,
portrayed.
a lot of
Thor
people
would-
see it as a reinvention of Thor.
Yeah, but you don't
and-
reinvent mid franchise. That's
Well,
my
yeah,
gripe.
yeah. Well, you don't even do it mid movie like they did in Justice League, right?
Well,
you get a good story and you stick with
Exactly.
the characters. You don't create Jake Skywalker that was, what
My
Mark
problem
Hamill
with
said,
Thor was that in the growth he does in Ragnarok was amazing, because now he realized he doesn't need the hammer to call on the thunder. He's now really the thunder god. He loses his eye, but he still has sight. There was a lot of growth in that. And then first Avenger movie, oh, we give you your eye back. So that's a development from Ragnarok that's just gone. Oh, and we're just gonna go get you a new hammer so that you can be the god of hammers again. And I'm like, you just destroyed everything he did in the past movie. Like, literally, it's scene for scene. Like, you end with Thor, you start with Thor, and after that, he goes on that, Guardian of Galaxy type adventure.
I did
And-
like the Asgardians of the Galaxy in a way, that idea.
Yeah.
Now, James Gunn, because remember he got the tweet that came from 10 trillion years ago and got canceled and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And went off to do Suicide Squad, and then he came back. It was Kevin Feige that wanted the Asgardians of the Galaxy in Thor, at least in that beginning part. but that was nothing James Gunn ever intended.
No, and I
Yeah.
think they did a good separation of that. Beginning of the movie, you have Thor is like the secret weapon when the Guardians can't handle what's happening, and how Thor got back into shape and stuff like that. But it was just too stupid at the whole movie. Then
Yeah, it was. It
and
was
you
like
bring
I
back
said. It
Matt
was.
Damon
Was
again to
the
do the
screaming
actor.
goats or whatever, that gag got old after like the second time,
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't like so if they do another Thor movie, which they probably because Chris Hemsworth said he's willing to do it again, but with a new direction. So hopefully they go back to. I like the old speech, have at thee and shit like that. That's what I grew
Well,
up.
Yeah.
that the first movie, Thor, the first
They should
movie
have kept his
was
eyebrow
Kenneth
brown
Branagh.
though.
He's the one that directed it. That's why it's so Shakespearean, and that's
Yeah.
how Thor is. They're Asgardians, and
Yes.
um,
I recently finished reading the entire Volume 1 run of the Mighty Thor, and that includes the when he first appeared in Tales to Astonish. Was it Tales to
I
Astonish?
think it's yeah.
Journey into Mystery. Journey into Mystery. I started with Journey into Mystery, and I read the whole spiel through all of Volume 1. Now, yeah, I will say in the mid '90s, it got kind of crappy, but most comic books did because everybody was trying to reinvent the wheel.
yeah. Now help me
And
out here. There was a series. I think it was maybe it was in the 2000s, that, or it might have been sooner than that, late 90s. But it was where like Asgard people like the Hulk got Asgardian powers, and what was that?
that was Fear itself.
Fear itself. That was very good.
And
I
that
was
was
I bought every one of
in
those
the
comics.
2010s, maybe.
Was it
Yeah.
that late?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, that was
it's
very good.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't all that long ago in the grand scheme of things. But what I would like to see them do, if they really want to go back and do a classic Thor story, I would like to see him go back into Simonson's run when they introduced Beta Ray Bill.
Oh man. I'm
That
a
would be
bigger fan of Beta Ray
fantastic.
Bill than I am of Thor.
I would have rather seen Beta Ray Bill instead of female Thor or Thor or
Yeah.
whatever she was.
I mean, I love Beta Ray Bill. Okay, even the World War Hulk in the comics, the champion was Silver Surfer, but then in the animated movie of Planet Hulk, it was Beta Ray
Ms.
Bill
Beta
who
Bill,
was the
yeah.
champion, and I think he
Yeah,
did
I
a
think there was a
fantastic job.
rights issue with that they couldn't.
No, they actually I saw the backstory, like how they came up and really the showrunner for that movie just really felt that Better Ray Bill was the right time to give him a spotlight,
Well,
basically.
well, remember in Ragnarok, he was one of
Yeah.
his images was one of those on the post there.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Now, if they were to introduce Better Ray Bill, he would have just to be coming back, from whatever, and Thor would already need to know him, not discover him on the scuttlebutt,
Yeah,
and then
but the only issue is how does he get Stormbreaker at this point,
that was my biggest pet peeve with the Avengers, the Infinity War. It was that he makes the Stormbreaker.
I don't mind that he went and had Stormbreaker made because at this point in the comics, Odin of course went and had it made by the
Yeah,
dwarves, but by this point in the MCU, Odin was dead.
no, it's
So
great.
Thor goes and makes he has to use it. Then in the next movie, the shards of Mjolnir, he can work it back together or whatever, and then Beta Ray Bill,
Well, now, yeah, I
which
guess
is what that's what they should have done in Love and Thunder instead of what they
but he
gave us.
has. I don't remember Love and Thunder. He still has Mjolnir now, right? Because Jane is dead.
Yeah, and the little girl had Stormbreaker in
Oh
that in
yeah,
that
yeah.
very last scene.
Okay. Which.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
they
So
called them Love and Thunder.
so basically, she needs to go back to school. and then somehow Thor, sees Beta Ray Bill and he's like, "Hey, here's a new hammer." Because I mean, Beta Ray Bill
She's
didn't
like,
have to tap the mallet and call on the
she's like,
power of
it's
Thor. He
not a
was just that
fad,
strong.
Dad.
Throg belonged in Love and Thunder, Lone Dragon. He really did.
Yeah, alongside Crocodile Loki from the Loki miniseries.
I wonder what's going to happen with. I thought I saw some headlines about. Help me out, King the Conqueror. It's
Well,
Jonathan
don't spoil
Majors.
Yeah,
anything.
John Majors. Yeah, they're saying no, it was all made up. Now he's innocent. He's got proof that he's innocent.
I wish we would have had that proof a long time ago, so we could have got things going.
I don't think. Well, with the writer's strike going on, I don't think them moving off from the King storyline. I don't think there's really been enough time
I mean,
to
Kang, I haven't
really get that
finished
going.
Ant-Man
So
yet. Quantum Mania. I haven't.
Well,
I
did
started.
you hear about the controversy with from Black Panther? Oh, who's the guy with the wings on his feet? Help me out.
oh yeah,
Oh,
I did
Namor.
hear
Namor.
that. The guy that played Namor, yeah.
So I
What
mean,
happened to the guy
Marvel's
that
got it
played
bad
Namor?
right now for their bad guys.
Oh,
So
he's getting accused of the same stuff that Jonathan Majors got accused of, abusing people and
Okay.
all that good stuff. Or
See, when
bad
you get
stuff.
famous, you need to stop doing anything fun. Just be famous.
Why do you think so many, famous people build these huge mansions with all this crap in them
Yeah.
and have these big, huge walls around them?
Yeah.
That's why,
Yeah. And by the way, that Namor origin story was probably the worst origin story. I'm guessing they didn't want to use the word Atlantis.
I don't think they
It's
could. I
just
think it's
it's just that movie. I feel like with Wakanda Forever, there were just a lot of mistakes made with that movie. First of all, they tried to cram too much into it in too short of a time. Even though the movie was not short, they just tried to put too much into it.
Yeah.
And T'Challa is such an important character in the Marvel universe. They should have recast it. And I know that's probably
definitely.
an unpopular opinion, but there are ways that they could have paid tribute to
I think they did a good
the
kind of
actor.
tribute with him dying and everything and not use him in CGI and stuff like that.
No,
I think
they just should have recast it. And it's
yeah.
He's too
I know the
important of a
reason they didn't,
character to not be
but
recast.
another black character that was originally an Iron Man. We had Rhodey that was played by what's his name, Ed?
I don't yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and then because of issues with him over money, because he wanted more money, he thought he should be paid more than Robert Downey Jr. is what I understand from it. And
Well, not
so because of
exactly
that,
but yeah.
they recast him like
Yeah.
that one. Nothing. I think they made a
Crazy.
good decision doing that because I
Oh
think
yeah,
Don
Cheeto
Cheadle
was
makes a much better Rhodey.
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard, that's
Yeah.
right, Lone Dragon.
but
Thank
but
you.
I think
And
Cheeto
Ed.
was a good choice. The
And
chemistry was
yeah,
better
it's
and
much better.
yeah. But it's all
Terrence Howard's Rhodey just had a stick up his ass the whole time.
they could have recapped, but I mean, he was a side character, not a star character. So to have T'Challa, the star, being recast, I mean, it's been
Yeah,
done
but
before, but
I'm
I don't
I'm
think it
just to the
would have
point
had
that
the
the
same
character,
impact.
it should be about the character,
Yeah,
not
not the actor.
not the actor, not the people that they're trying to appeal to. It
The
should
best
be
part of
about the character. It should be
I
about the
agree.
story,
The story
and
comes
that
first.
character is too important, or he
Yeah.
was too important to just okay. He's dead now, and now Shuri is the Black Panther.
Hey, talking about characters, I had this thought. We were talking, I don't know, not long ago, about Optimus Prime, right? Because he's Optimus Prime, and the fact that he's being recast now in animated shows and stuff like that. They don't want to pay Peter Cullen money, so they hire Alan Tudyk, who I love, and for Earth's Park, I don't think he's doing a bad job, but it's just weird. But imagine that in, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, regardless how many years, Peter Cullen passes away. It's gonna happen. It's gonna. If I was Hasbro, and I'm just saying, if I was Hasbro, I would retire the character of Optimus Prime permanently and replace it with Rodimus Prime. Make a story, maybe a movie. Hold on, make a movie in the Rise of the Beast where you have Hot Rod, a new version. Something happens, not that he got Optimus Prime killed, but that he could be the new bearer of the Matrix. You retire Optimus Prime in honor of Peter Cullen, because they even said that the face design of Optimus Prime was changed a little bit for the movie so that it looked more like Peter Cullen. Hold on, let me finish. And then you retire completely Optimus Prime, like you retire a jersey in sports, and you headline with Rodimus Prime now. That to me would make sense.
Well, what about Dumbledore? They recast him, and honestly, I couldn't tell a difference. I didn't know at the time. In Harry Potter,
huge difference, because the second one looks 20 years younger, even with the beard.
But you know what?
I think that was a situation where it worked.
As much as I like Richard Harris, I think James Gandolfini did a better job as I was going to say Gandalf, but not Gandalf.
Yeah,
James Gandolfini.
Dumbledore.
Wait a minute. Yeah, he was Tony Soprano, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't think you got the right name for the second.
Oh, maybe I got the wrong name.
James Gandolfini
was Tony Soprano.
But anyway, the guy, the second Dumbledore, he was. I thought he did a better job than Richard Harris.
He did a good job. Okay, but Google. I think it would make sense.
What actors?
Because I'm ready for a new Transformers show where it's all new, like Beast Wars was. All new. You keep one name, or you recast like Silverbolt and.
I can't read that.
I'm sorry. You have Richard Harris and then Michael Gambon.
Michael Gamboni. Gambon. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
Then you had Jude Law in Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, but Jude Law.
Do we have to count Fantastic Beasts?
No, we don't.
We don't.
Like the first one and the second one were okay, but that last one, The Secrets of the Dumbledore,
So who was the original one? Was it Richard Harris or
Richard Harris was the first one. He was in the first two movies.
Yeah. But he was like 90 when he did it. So how do you expect to get 7 movies out of that?
Well, AI is coming. That's part of the writer's strike. Their actors are scared to death that they're all going to be recast. In fact, Tom Hanks said he imagined after he's gone that there'll be AI versions of him in film. So he's cool with it.
Not without
Peter Cushing, in Star Wars Rogue One.
Yes, exactly.
It was well done. Carrie Fisher, a little less well done. But no, I don't like it.
Don't forget, Luke Skywalker, really not well done at all.
But it didn't matter.
Here's my thing about that.
That was one of the greatest. I don't even want to talk about Mando.
Yes, but he just looked off. Even in Book of Boba Fett, and that version looked better than the version from The Mandalorian, but it still looked off. And I think it goes back to Mark Hamill just having one of those faces that is difficult to translate. Because if you look at any Luke Skywalker action figure, unless you're talking about like a $400 plus Hot Toys Luke Skywalker, they cannot get the likeness right. None of them look like Mark Hamill.
No,
none of them.
You remember Carrie Fisher said that every time she looks in the mirror, she owes George Lucas money.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Oh, the roast of George Lucas was amazing. Not the roast, but the Lifetime Achievement Award, and she ripped him good.
She was a funny lady.
But I think the biggest mistake in that was Harrison Ford saying that he was going to be there for Indy 4. And then it just blew up, and then we had the.
I'm sorry, there were only 3 Indiana Jones films.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh
I've
yeah.
read. I've seen some early reviews of the Dial of Destiny, and they're calling it the most okay Indiana Jones film.
The Dial of
It's not
Diarrhea.
good. It's not bad. It's just okay.
Did you say the Dial of Diarrhea?
Yeah, the Dial of Diarrhea. But you know what? It's got to be better than the space aliens from Uranus.
I don't know. I'm still gonna go see it regardless.
Hold
I'm
on, the
gonna keep an
original.
open mind. But they're using a lot of de aging in there, and they said the de aging actually kind of works. It's getting better, but
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel about that.
have you watched The Irishman with
Yes,
the
yes, yeah,
Netflix movie from Scorsese?
yeah. That was about
That's
30 more
Scorsese.
minutes of
Is it Scorsese?
self-indulgence. The Irishman is
Yeah,
what,
it's
4 hours
Scorsese
long?
with
It's
Al
crazy.
Pacino and all the de aging. And the first time you watch it, it's like, okay, it's good. The second time, you can see it. So it
And
needs to get a
Especially
little
if
better.
you got a high def a
when
4K
they
TV.
when they first started using that de aging technology, you
X-Men: The
know,
Last
when
Stand.
when you watch
Oh,
it in the
that's right.
theater, we don't talk about that movie, Rez.
Well, that's where it started.
But anyway, in the theater, the stuff doesn't look that bad. But then
Yeah.
when you're watching it on DVD or Blu-ray, and it just looks super fake, and
You watch it in
the
4K,
movie
yeah.
that comes to mind for me of how bad that looks at home versus theater is Tron Legacy,
Oh yeah, that's
because
right. I did
Jeff
not
Bridges
like that
looks
movie.
so fake.
I did not like that movie. No.
There was so much they could have done with that,
Well,
and
where
it
was
just
freaking Tron? Like, not have Tron in the movie. Like, just at the end, he wakes up. Like,
oh
and he
yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
say a
because the whole
freaking
time he was a
word.
bad guy because he
Yeah,
got
it's like,
reprogrammed by evil Jeff Bridges.
yeah, exactly. Clue. Oh yeah, that was just, no, it was terrible. But
That Lone Dragon, that just shows you how much the technology has improved
he did.
That's
But
since
true.
then,
Patrick
because he
Stewart and
didn't
Ian
he didn't
McKellen in
look
Last
bad,
Stand
and
was okay. Yeah.
he doesn't look real fake.
No, no, he doesn't. It was, but I haven't finished Quantum Mania yet, so I don't want to.
I haven't
But
finished.
let's go
I ain't
back
Um,
to
even
my
started it yet.
don't finish it.
let's go back to my Rodimus Prime suggestion. Do you think
The
that
only
Hasbro should retire Optimus Prime after his passing?
Hasbro will never retire Optimus
Retire
Prime
Optimus
because
Prime.
that's like throwing money in the garbage.
That's like
You can
Disney
still
getting
make
rid of
Never
Darth
characters of him.
Vader.
they will never do that.
No. You can
Disney is
still
going
make
to find a
toys of him.
reason to have Darth Vader in Star
And
Wars.
now what I hope they do when hopefully it doesn't happen anytime soon, but when Peter Cullen passes, that
Hey, thanks, Larkin.
they don't make an AI voice of him and use that like they started doing with Darth Vader already in
I've got
Obi-Wan
no problem
Kenobi.
with that because I want to hear James Earl Jones as Darth
Oh,
Vader,
no
but
doubt
to
I
hear
want to hear
someone
James
else,
Earl Jones, but I want to hear James Earl Jones. But I
Yeah,
know he's not going to be around forever.
but I mean,
I said this years ago before there was any idea of like this cloning stuff, and I was like, they need to put James Earl Jones in a room and have him say every letter of the alphabet in every combination and every word they can record. So
but
then later on, 10, 20 years after he's passed, we still have him as Darth
No,
Vader.
they just need to figure out how to put his head in a jar like in Futurama.
the Darth Vader in the Force Unleashed game, they used another actor to do
And
Darth Vader, and that was a guy that he used to be on a show I watched called it was Chad Vader,
oh yeah,
day
yeah,
shift manager.
where he was the grocery store.
Yeah, exactly. He was at
That
the
was
grocery
funny.
store. It was
That was
hilarious, but
hilarious.
that guy really had a good voice, and they actually used him in the Force Unleashed game. And there was even one achievement. There was one achievement where if Vader killed stormtroopers, you would get the bad day shift manager achievement. So I thought that was cool. Yeah, I don't know
Oh
if you
shoot,
did.
this is number two.
We don't talk about season 2 of Picard.
Oh,
No,
come
no,
on. It
no, no,
wasn't that
no.
bad. It wasn't good,
Oh,
but it
season
wasn't
two.
that bad.
Season 3
Season two of
was
Picard was the
phenomenal.
worst
Season
atrocity to mankind.
season
It
three
really was
was
bad.
better. I liked it. I,
Three
but I
And
think
turned
I'm
it
done
around.
with any new Star Trek. I
as
was
much
done for a while.
as I've talked up Strange New Worlds, season 1 was great. Episode 2 of season 2, I was not digging so much.
See, I
I
stopped
It
after
was
season.
I
okay,
want to.
but there's just too much crap you can read into it.
I know, but it was a powerful episode. You have to admit, it was pretty powerful.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah,
but it just I don't
but I
know.
worry about the
It
way the
seems
show
like
is
it's going.
going.
It seems like it was on the right
Yeah,
track. Now they're shifting it over to new track.
Lone
Okay,
Dragon. Just
you
to
you
point
know
out
who I
some.
can't. I'm sorry.
No,
Who I
sorry.
can't.
Just Lone Dragon said I haven't. He's only watching it so he can watch season 3. You
You
can
don't you
skip.
don't have to.
You can
You
skip directly to season 3. There's no relation between
no.
season 2 and season 3. Nothing. Not
Yes.
even. I can't say it because he hasn't seen it, but the ending of
Yeah,
season 2 with the new development of that character should have had an impact on what happened in season 3 with,
and it
you
didn't.
know, them. And I'm like, when are they going to go get her? When are they going to go talk to her, see if she can help? When are they going to? Nothing. And then Worf
Yeah,
drinks tea.
if you just skip to like the last episode of season 2, and in fact like the last maybe 10 minutes of it, you good.
Actually, I would just skip the end of season 2 because you expect that to have an impact in season 3, but there
But
isn't. So
I cannot tell you if he's in season 3 or not.
uh,
I can't tell you that.
exactly, we cannot tell you
We
if Q is
we
in
can't
season
say
3.
that.
No,
And I love John Delancey as Q. Oh my god. I used to look forward to it every year when the Next Generation was on
see
the
now
air, that I knew once a year he was going to be on the show, and I'll always look forward to
exactly.
that. And my favorite episode is where the Q Continuum took his powers away
Yeah, that
and
was
made him
great.
human and sent him to the Enterprise. Oh my god. That
Yeah,
was
which was his choice, the Enterprise.
well,
But it
he knew he had to have somebody to protect him.
but because of what happened, like I was talking about another character, the end, like a she character, which had no impact in season 3, which she should. Honestly, she's her. She's the new her, and she should have an impact on what happened in with the 25 and below, right? Okay, so we know
Yes,
what I'm
and
talking about. Okay,
the only thing I think Picard season 3 was missing was for them to at least have a cameo of Will Wheaton.
oh well, we can't talk about it. Lone Dragon just. Oh man, now I want to. Okay,
Well,
Lone
no,
Dragon.
I said in season 3. That's the only thing that's missing out of season
Yeah, but
3.
I know. But I mean, I want to talk
I
about.
wasn't saying anything about season 2. I
But
think
I
he
want to
froze
talk
up.
about season
Somebody
2 now
froze up.
but Lone Dragon hasn't finished seeing it. So Lone
Yeah, yeah,
Dragon,
yeah,
you have
yeah.
to finish it, and then we're gonna have a stream
We need to
about
change the
Star Trek Picard.
subject. We need to change the subject for Lone
Yeah.
Dragon here.
Okay, so Rodimus Prime.
Oh God, can we change it again?
But I think, to me, I would accept it. They can still have a statue of Optimus Prime in every show, and have him being revered as a great leader from the past. Like put him on Mount Rushmore of Cybertron, and then have
Yeah, but
Rodimus Prime
that's
redevelop as a
not going to
character.
sell Optimus Prime toys.
It will. Everybody's gonna
No.
buy Prime, man. Kids don't
They
buy
could
toys.
just stop. They could just stop calling him Optimus Prime and start calling him Convoy.
No, no, that won't work. That will not work.
And in case you didn't know, Convoy is what Optimus Prime is known as in Japan.
No, I know.
I did not know
But
that.
it just
I was telling Ed. I didn't think he knew that. I knew you knew that.
I didn't know
Raz.
that.
okay.
I didn't know
But
that.
But I really want to have. I think it would have been. I'm hoping for a new show where there's no Bumblebee, no anything. Get a new crew. Maybe I want it to be part of the G1 continuity as Beast War was part of the. So forget Beast Machine, and have another show that happens, I don't know, another 1,000 years after Beast Wars, where Optimus Prime and Optimus Primal are legends, and now you have a new crew, and then they crash to another planet.
Transformers, the next generation.
Yeah, something like that. You know, have them maybe explore, have
Yes,
them
Jean.
being on a ship,
Jean-Luc Prime.
and then just trek the universe.
Hey, Lone Dragon, I see where you're talking about. Picard is confronted by Q, quote Shakespeare. Adam is troubled by Q for years. Cisco is
Yeah, Cisco
confronted by
punches
Q.
him in the mouth, and they never comes on
And
Deep
don't
Space Nine.
forget, he
That was a
was
great
also on
episode, though.
Voyager. John Delancey was also on Voyager as Q.
Yes, he did. And
Yeah,
I look forward to his appearances
every time
on there because it was actually going to be a good episode of Voyager.
Yeah. But I like
remember if it wasn't for Q, I mean he's the one that introduced the Federation to the Borg.
No, exactly. I mean, he's essential, and I like that episode where they go to the they find a Q trapped in an asteroid, and they free him, and this guy is Q, but another Q, and he wants to kill himself all the time, and then when he tries to do it, something happens. And it's it's always a mess. And then John Delancey arrives, and then he sees the ship, and he's like, "What's this? The ship of the Valkyrie?" Because all the men are gone.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So that was a great episode. And then to know that Riker is alive today because that Q saved his grandfather,
his ancestor,
in some war or some
iron boots.
So Riker owes his existence to the Continuum. To me, that's the greatest
and
irony.
Q will never let him forget it.
Oh no.
No, Q did make him forget it.
Well,
and he made him forget that he even came to Voyager.
But we know.
we know.
So, but there's I want to talk season 2 now. All right. Okay.
I will say this, and this is not spoilery. There were Easter egg stuff going on in season 2 that I liked, that if you watch all of the series, you recognize, like there's signs that talk about
on the first episode. Okay.
Talk about the zones where they used to send the homeless people and the people that didn't have jobs from that episode of Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
Where Cisco and Bashir end up going back in time, and Jadzia too.
Yeah.
There's little Easter eggs all planted out through that.
Yeah, well,
now, if you're looking for Easter eggs, then
place, but okay. Guinan really pissed me off in the past because they make no mention of the fact that she already met Picard in the Pasteur Pass, and that pissed me off the whole time. I'm like, they did just
he
saved her life.
Why doesn't
Why doesn't she say shit? What does it?
Time's arrow.
They completely dismiss that, which is the fundamental episode of why Guinan is on that freaking ship. Why did you not acknowledge this? She should have said, "Oh, I remember you from 200 years ago."
Yeah.
Huh. Sorry, Lone Dragon. That's a spoiler, but that really
I don't know why that
me
makes
off.
me think of Generations, because I love Soren as a bad guy. What was his name?
McDowell.
Roddy McDowell, was that his name?
Not Roddy. It was
not Roddy.
Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell. Yeah, there's so many he had so many great lines in that film.
Yeah, but you don't mean to tell you the biggest thing that disappointed me about Malcolm McDowell being in Generations was that they tried to bill him as the Khan of the next generation.
Well,
and he simply was not. He was probably as obsessed as Khan, but
he was as obsessed, but he wasn't out for revenge. He just wanted to go back to heaven. Which wouldn't you?
Yeah, who wouldn't?
I mean, because those eggs look really good when Kirk was cooking. I mean,
I think that too.
So yeah, no, I understood the reason for the Generation movie. I think it was okay to a passing of the torch, even though we had DeForest Kelly and we had James Doohan in Next Generation, and Spock, with Leonard
Right,
Nimoy.
right,
So the torch was already passed, and then but they were missing character from in Next Generation, like Chekhov. We hadn't seen Chekhov in the Next Generation, so that was a good way to put him in there, and Kirk, because James Doohan was already there. So the only one missing is Uhura. She was never tied with
right,
uh,
right.
the Next Generation, and I think that was missing. They should have had her somehow, just an old admiral or something. I don't know, but it was just a good passing of the torch. I love the movie
It
after
was.
that. First Contact was amazing. I would have
Yes.
loved less interaction with the Earth human like Lily. I don't think what she did with Picard, and she's
I think
escaping on the ship.
it was
Although I didn't mind her,
important
but
because she was of a less sophisticated time. You know what I
Well,
mean? The
what it was,
Cochrane's
she
time.
was the character. She was supposed to be the character that people were supposed to identify with
yeah,
as
but
a
most people
modern
identify with
person
Doctor.
rather than a person from the future.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. To this day, First Contact is one of my favorite Star Trek films.
yeah,
Um, as good as Wrath of Khan is, the
Don't you
part where
dare
they put
say
the
it.
bug in the
Don't you
guy's
say it.
ear,
I'm gonna be
that grossed me out growing up, and so maybe I don't
no,
know,
my
but I'm not
my
gonna say First Contact's my favorite, but it's awful
it's
close.
it's a great movie. What I
And
liked about
Jonathan
the
Frakes
original Star Trek,
directed it.
huh?
Jonathan Frakes, I think, directed it.
Yes, he
Yeah,
did.
he
He
did.
directed.
He's a great director of Star
Yeah,
Trek.
but what I liked about the original series movie from the second to the fifth was that it was all happening one after the other. Two leads directly into three, where Bones has the memory of Spock, and then the fourth one is directly after the fact that Spock is back, and then they go time travel, and then not long after you have actually two, three, and four are connected. The fifth
Yeah,
one, they're on vacation. Oh yeah, no,
yeah.
the fifth one
It's a little time. It's a little time
exactly.
after
They're on
four.
shore leave while the ship is being repaired from all that, ordeal. And you have the greatest line in the franchise when, Spock is trying to understand campfires and sing along. And Bones just said, God damn it, I preferred him before he was dead. That was the
Oh no,
greatest
no.
line in the
I have to
franchise
disagree
ever.
with. I have to disagree with you. The greatest Star Trek line. It was still uttered by Dr. McCoy, but the
Okay.
greatest Star Trek line
Oh,
was in. Uh-oh. It was in Star Trek 3 when they're breaking McCoy out of prison, and Kirk tells him, "says Doctor, you're suffering from a mind meld." And McCoy says, "That green-blooded son of a bitch is his revenge for all those arguments he lost."
that's right. That's a good one. But I think the emotion was there for, that I preferred him before he died. It was
Yeah.
just really, really funny.
Oh, and
Um,
as far as funny lines go, they tried to force too many into Star Trek 5. In my opinion, it just
a little
some of
bit.
it worked, some of
Yeah,
it didn't work,
exactly.
and
But I loved Star Trek Five, the undiscovered country. No, no, no. The quest
Final
for God,
Frontier,
whatever. When
the
they go
Final
to the
Frontier.
center of the universe and they breach the barrier, and I love the idea of finding God, but then realize that it's all because of Savick. So that was just I really enjoyed that. So I think the fifth one is probably one of my top movies. But then after that, the undiscovered country with the Klingons, the
Right,
conspiracy
right.
and everything, that was fun. Not great. Generation was good. First Contact was amazing.
Well, I've always said this: you have to judge Star Trek movies. You have to separate them out.
Yeah.
You have to take the TOS movies and you have to separate them from the Next Generation movies.
Oh yeah,
You,
because
you
they
can't
don't.
you can't you can't mix those together and say this
Well,
one is, you know,
you can. It's just different.
it's well, I guess
Everybody
I would
hated.
say it's really hard to judge that
Yeah.
way
Everybody
because
hated Insurrection, right? And
oh my god, I don't
I
know if I
love it.
hated Insurrection more than Nemesis, but I
No,
I hated them both.
I loved Insurrection.
Really?
I really enjoyed the whole story of a civilization that is so advanced that they just went, you know what, we're gonna go back to farming. We don't need this, and they realized what happiness was and what the meaning of life should be, and they're able to stop time, live in the moment, and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that, but I didn't like Nemesis as much. Nemesis, what they killed Data, and that's one of the things I didn't like about the Picard show. The first season where Data is
Yeah, and they just kind of
painting,
negate that.
when he's painting and Picard just doesn't want to forget him and he doesn't want the game to end, I teared up. Like in season one, every time I saw an old character, I teared up
Yeah.
because I have emotional issues and I'm fragile once in a while. And seeing those made me so happy to see those characters again. And, but in
Yes.
season three, I didn't have that same, oh my God, he's back moment. Oh my God.
Well, it's because, you know, in season 1 the
You don't expect
appearances
it.
weren't every single episode, you know, and you didn't know ahead of time that there were going to be a lot of people from the original show. And when I say original, I'm
I
talking about the
didn't
next
like
generation.
season one. I actually I watched it because it was Picard, and then
Exactly.
one of my friend, me and Vince were talking, and he said this sounds more like a show that they tried to pitch to Paramount or another studio, and it got rejected. And then after that, they said, "Oh, we could make this a show about Picard." They slapped the name on it. Then they went back and reworked the story to make it fit within a Star Trek storyline, and then it was accepted. But they tried to make it an action show instead of being a sci-fi show. I didn't like the fact, and I mean, I love Seven of Nine as most Trekkies do. I like Jerry Ryan. I didn't she was a forced character in that story at the beginning. Like, why do you go get Seven of Nine? Why does she know who Picard is? Why? There's no connection. Um, they
Well,
didn't.
everybody knows who Picard is. That's like,
But there was a connection between them. Like they were talking, like, what are you doing
well,
here, Picard?
well,
What the blah blah.
the connection was they were both assimilated by the Borg.
Yeah, but then
And you don't
anyway.
know, they may have met sometime in between
Well, no, because
Voyager coming
he
home
was in
and
the he was in the completely different quadrant. But anyway, I I didn't like season one because it felt like a Mass Effect episode. I don't know if you played the Mass
yeah,
Effect trilogy. At the end you have the Reapers coming in through a portal, and it just felt like it was an AI movie that they just slapped the name Star Trek Picard on it. So
right,
I
right.
didn't like season one,
Well,
so I
a
stopped
lot
watching it.
a lot of the issues with season 1 and 2, I understand, were because of Patrick Stewart. There were just things that he outlined for the show that he didn't want to do, and one of the things was he didn't want it to be a Next Generation reunion show.
No, not at first, because he
And
wanted it to be different because he didn't want to play Picard again. But that's how they sold the show to him. It's like, well, it's been 20 years. He's changed. He's not the same character. So we said, all right, I'll do it, but I don't want it to be Next Generation. So, but they had some good moments with Riker and Deanna, and they have a new crew, and now he's more of a renegade. But then after that, the ending of season one, where he's synthetic, but he's not an android, and he's gonna just live the rest of his normal life like he would have in a normal body. Just let him die,
right,
you know.
right. And
So I didn't like.
while we're talking about the movies, um, has anybody seen the Star Trek motion picture, the director's cut?
No, well, maybe I did.
It came out maybe about 15 years ago on DVD, and then hadn't been seen since until I just noticed the other day it's on Paramount Plus now, and I think they upscaled it to HD. And if you've
Okay.
never seen that, as unmotion picture, the motion picture is the director's cut does add a little bit to it. Most of it is visual stuff,
Yeah. Okay.
but it is at least worth one watch. And if you have never read the novelization for Star Trek: The Motion Picture, you have to read it, but you have to read the annotated version.
Okay.
There's just so much information about what's going on that is not in the movie because they just simply couldn't fit it all in the movie.
All right. Well, maybe I don't have Paramount Plus, but maybe I can find it.
Like I
But
said,
yeah,
it was about 15 years ago, I guess it was, that they released it on DVD, but they didn't make any other releases of it after that. I figured for sure they were going to put it on Blu-ray, but they never did.
we had a stream not long ago, Star Trek versus Star Wars, and just for the fun of it, and everybody's arguing points. But I didn't want it to be just a debate where people just bash each other,
Right.
because that's usually what a Trek versus War. So we went with, all right, why do you like Star Trek, and then give me a positive about Star Wars, and then the other way
Right.
around with everybody.
Well,
And
I never.
but by the end of the
I know
stream, we
they're-
came to the conclusion that the best between Star Trek and Star Wars was Spaceball. So nobody
I
lost,
love
right?
Spaceballs.
Everybody loves Spaceballs.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
But to me, I don't know. Maybe it's just because when I was a kid, I loved anything that was space.
Yeah,
If
me
it had
too.
space in it, I wanted to watch it. And
that's why I like Transformers. They came from outer space.
Exactly.
They had Cybertronian modes.
And I enjoyed other things too, but it was just like, if it happened in outer space and they're shooting lasers, and wow, these guys got laser swords, and then these guys got a gun that'll stun the shit out of you, and
yeah, no, that's
it
why we
all
like it.
It all appealed to me. And then as you get older,
Ed's back. Can you see him
you
in the studio?
No, I don't see him.
Oh, okay.
Let me refresh that. I may disappear for a minute.
Okay, I'll keep talking. All right, he's gone. So yeah, next on Digital Caveman, you'll have a exclusive Raziel Kane content. No, maybe not. Who's still in the chat? Lone Dragon, you still there?
Yeah, I'm back. I still don't see him.
All right.
Oh, he's got a Windows update.
No, wow, that's okay. Funniest thing ever. I was watching Memo 224 being interviewed by Deluxe.
Oh God, I remember that.
And then
it was
Deluxe computer just reboots. No warning.
And that wasn't. I don't think that was the first time. There were 3 or 4 in a row
wasn't.
there that happened in, and it became a running joke.
Yeah, that he was like Memo just kept talking and answering question from the chat, and he'll be back, and then Deluxe come back. Sorry, my computer rebooted. Like what?
Yeah.
That was hilarious. Yeah. So all right. So 500 videos, man. We haven't talked about that. That's what we should have been talking about.
Yeah, that is true. We should have been talking about that.
So how do you feel?
Honestly, I don't know how I really feel about it. I wasn't ever expecting to make it to 500 videos.
Yeah.
And then, if you think about it, I always thought I'd hit at least 500 subscribers before I hit 500 videos, but
that does make good sense.
But that's just not.
Well, I mean, eventually you will have, but I mean, I have 257 videos right now. but I do them like I don't have your uh, time frame or your availability to
Right,
make
right,
content.
right.
And the way I try to do it is at least one video a week, which is every Saturday 7:30. That's my schedule. That's when I've noticed I have more people. Except yesterday, I did one Sunday 7:30, and I got 15 people to watch my collection tour. I'm thinking it was because it was a collection tour, not just a tour review.
It could have been. It could have been that.
Exactly.
Um,
So, but I mean, my
but
interview.
I mean, when I started out doing it, I was like you. I was just dropping one video a week, and it was a Transformers video. And then I was like, I collect all these Marvel Legends too. Let me start reviewing those. I'll drop those on Monday, and then I'll have video on Monday and Friday. And then, I was like, well, I'm collecting this other stuff too, and I picked this up, and so let me just plan out the whole week and see how that goes. And I was cooking with Crisco there for a while until I just hit season 3, and I decided, well, let me see if I can figure out how this chroma key works. And I'm still figuring it out some because
Right.
there's, being colorblind does not help.
I'm colorblind too. That's right. I forgot that about you. See,
And
that's why I have it in my intro. You know,
I,
it says,
I, you know, I,
from a colorblind guy.
I usually say something along the lines of, and if it isn't really that color, I'm
Yeah,
colorblind. Don't make fun of handicapped people.
I did that with Dirge, which is coming only in 2 weeks. But it's like, to me, it's kind of navy blue. My wife was like, no, it's not navy. It's another shade. I'm like, am I going to see that? You know? But my main problem is with green stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
I greens and browns, some
yeah, me
reds.
too. Okay, so you're a Dutan colorblind as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, and my uncle actually, um, maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago, I go to the optometrist, and I just want to get my eyes checked because I'm getting older, and she said that in 6 months I have to go back check it because I have a blood spot in the back of my eye and shit like that. So, and I'm like, what about those glasses for colorblind? Are they? I see people, put that thing on, and it's like, everybody's crying and blah blah blah. And she's like, well, your green receptor is not working properly. So if you put a pair of glasses on, your green receptor is still not going to be working. So it doesn't really work. So I'm like, okay. But I go maybe actually the following weekend, my wife's working. My dad calls me, and he's like, yeah, your uncle, who I haven't seen in 10 years, wants to come and see you. Can we drop by? Okay, so my uncle lives in Quebec City, so that's a 5-hour drive. He picks up my dad, gets here, and then the moment he walks in the house, I'm happy to see him, say hello, and then he's looking everywhere. And then I realize, I'm like, what are you looking for? He's like, oh, I got you these glasses for colorblind. I'm like, really? And now I know that he bought them for no reason because it's not going to
right,
work.
right,
But he's like, no, I bought you those glasses. But I mean, there's no color in your house. But I mean, it wasn't sunny outside, and we have a very cold deco, gray,
right, right.
brown, stuff like that. So, um, but my wife has a butterfly collection, but they're pretty much, in the dark tone.
Right.
So he's like,
And for people who don't understand
yeah,
color blindness, it's not that we see things in black and white.
well,
We
not
we
all of them,
don't.
not all of them,
We just see it as a different color than you do.
yeah, or maybe just a different shade sometime, or it's.
Sometimes that,
But
yeah,
it depends which receptor doesn't work. But I do
right,
know people that are colorblind, black and white, that exists. And to me, those are almost the luckiest one. Not that they don't see the color, but if you like to fish, you fly over a lake or you're on a boat over a lake and you see all the fish because you're not affected by the light degradation that you would have normally, you know, on
well,
when you're on a lake.
not to mention that takes away the urge to guess what color something is
Exactly.
when you're
And
not
also,
sure.
the U.S. military used black and white colorblind people to fly over the jungles of Vietnam to find people, because to them, camouflage just doesn't work.
Right.
It's like, all right, people are there. There's a base there. There's something there. So, but anyway, so my uncle get me those glasses, and I I had a game that my friend lent me, which was Settlers of Catan, and the green and brown pieces on that set, I have a really hard time distinguishing because it's dark brown and dark green. Can't see the difference when I go through it quickly. And of course, my friend always made me sort these two out. Yeah, so I put the glasses on, and I'm seeing a very slight, like minimal difference, but it's still hard to see the difference. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like both of them kind of switched a little bit. And then I look outside and it's the same thing. So I'm going like this for like 15 minutes to everything I know. And it changes fuck all. So he goes
Yeah.
and I said, "You want to leave them?" He's like, no, I'm going to bring them back and get reimbursed. All right, fine. So yeah.
No, no loan. You just memorize which color is where.
Yeah. But I think that's why there's a lot, there's a lot of, like in Quebec, I don't know. I think it's the same in the U.S., but I mean, the red lights are squared, the yellow one is a lozenge, and the green one is a circle. You can
Oh
say,
no, all ours, at least in my area, they're all round
oh,
lights,
okay.
and
Oh,
they
so it's
just they're
top,
different
middle,
colors.
bottom.
Yep.
There are
Yeah.
4 lights.
No.
No.
3.
Yeah, oh, four lights.
If there's 4 lights, I'm leaving.
Yeah. Oh, it's if there's 5 lights, we're leaving because there are 4 lights. Yeah, that's right. That
Oh,
that was a great episode.
that was a great episode.
Yeah. My favorite next gen episode is when Sarek merges meld minds with Picard, and when
That that was a
Picard
good
is
one
with
too.
Beverly and he's reacting to all these emotion, and he gets angry and he cries and he said, "I want to show you such tenderness," and
Yeah.
that was the best acting he did on that show.
Yeah, I would
Well, we got a bit of that in Generations too.
in
In a
my
way.
opinion, the best episodes of Next Generation are in the 3rd and 4th seasons. And there's still good episodes after that, but they're not quite it's not as much back-to-back good episodes as in
Yeah.
season 3 and
Well,
4.
Best of Both Worlds, of course, when he becomes Locutus. But the one where he does the flute, where he has a little flute,
Oh, that's a
that
5th
one was
season episode.
beautiful.
And
If you miss the opening of that
oh
episode the
yeah, you're
third
going, what the
time,
hell is
you're
going on?
screwed the whole time. I had to wait for the reruns because back then, that was
Right.
the thing. I had to wait for a rerun, and I could not understand what the hell he was doing on that planet.
Every day I was recording those on VHS
Oh
when they
yeah.
came out
Yeah,
originally.
good old days.
Oh
But
man,
no,
I used to get so PO'd
yeah.
when because in our area it came on Saturdays at like 7 o'clock.
Okay.
So if a football game ran over,
Oh, yeah, you're screwed. Yeah. But overall, I prefer Deep Space Nine as a series.
Deep
That's my
Space
least
Nine,
favorite.
I will have to say Deep Space Nine, even though it's not my favorite show, my favorite Star Trek show, I will say that at least in the latter half of it, it was probably the best written Star
Yeah,
Trek show.
it was
And
absolutely.
that's because Rick Berman was pretty much hands off. He
Yeah.
gave the showrunner, our Stephen Bear, he just said, just do it. I'm busy over here doing some Voyager crap.
Yeah.
Dressing
But
up
it
7 to 9.
was the story and the fact that they mix sci-fi and religion so well. I think it was. I mean, In the Pale of Moonlight is probably the greatest Star Trek episode, hands down, any series. That's
Which
when
one was that?
that's when Cisco hires Garrick to Ford.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and
I can
Cisco is
live with
just
that, can't I?
narrating to his
Can't I?
records, and he has to learn to live with that. That Garrick
That
is the greatest Star Trek. No, the greatest character ever written.
oh,
Any
always.
medium, any movie, TVs. Garrick is the
Better
greatest
than
character
Khan.
in entertainment.
And he was only gonna be in one episode. He was not gonna be a recurring character. He was gonna just be in that one season one episode.
Yeah, but
But
people
I'm
reacted
so
to it.
glad that they made him a recurring character because
Exactly.
he in the later
That
episodes during the
smile.
Dominion War, he had such an impact on on the war.
Yeah. But also, when Odo is dying and he's just telling him bullshit
Yeah,
stories
just tell
to
me
keep him
something.
entertained. But Cisco knew it. He's like, I need somebody to distract him. And Garrick understood the assignment and was like, he will be caught up in so many innuendos and half truths, and that it's going to keep him alive. And it did. And, I could watch a spin off series of a young Garrick doing all that shit, being a spy. And
The only problem with that is they would have to cast somebody that could pull off Andrew Robinson.
I
And
never knew he
that
was in
would
the
be
first Hellraiser.
he was first Pinhead.
No. He was the guy. Like
Oh, he was the guy who solved the puzzle box. That was the uncle. That
well,
guy.
he's the man married to the girl who keeps bringing people to feed the box.
Ah, okay.
He's watching TV, and just being. But eventually, he discovers that there's something going on, But he was in the first Hellraiser.
Well,
I mean, he didn't have a big, like, he did a couple cameos and stuff like that, working actor. But Garrick was just every time, like when Odo no when Quark hires him to kill him because
Yeah.
he needs to die, because of a contract. And everybody knows he's probably the biggest scumbag, no morals, will do anything for the Kardashian empire, but he's expelled now, so he's pissed off at them. And everybody knows that he's your guy to do anything. You need something, he'll get it, he'll do it. That's why Cisco went to him in the Pale of Moonlight. And Cisco knew it. He's right. That's why I hired him. So I just, hands down, best character ever.
And the best part of that episode is Cisco thought he knew the plan when Garrick was running his own different plan all along because he knew the other crap wasn't going to work, but he knew Cisco would never agree to do what he was doing.
Exactly. He's
and then
way ahead of
him,
everybody.
Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?
That's exactly. That's
man. Tim Burton kicked himself in the ass for killing off Jack Nicholson.
Oh yeah.
Because just think what Batman Returns could have been.
Not
Jack
Batman
Nicholson
Returns.
in it.
It would have been fun to have, because I like Pfeiffer and DeVito. The effects of that's my synopsis of those 4 Batman movies. First Batman, great acting, great effect. Second movie, great acting, terrible effects. Third movie, great effects, okay acting. Fourth movie, bad effects, bad acting.
Bad script.
Exactly, bad writing.
I mean, who the hell casts George Clooney?
Hey, now I'll tell you
Batman.
something. Back in the day, I thought George Clooney, if you had to have an actor who was Bruce Wayne in real life, George Clooney was living that life at the time. You know what I mean?
He might have been living a life like that, but the thing about George Clooney is, for me at least, your mileage of course may vary, but for me, George Clooney is like Kevin Costner. He's exactly the same, and it doesn't matter what role he is playing. He's Kevin Costner as a character. He's George Clooney.
Well,
as a
Kevin
character.
Costner. So Kevin Costner would, let's pretend he was um, Jonathan Kent. He would tell
He was
Clark
still
that
Kevin Costner,
let people
dude.
die.
He was still
Yeah.
Kevin Costner.
I mean, you're able to feel what he's feeling, but the basic is the same. And okay, I
Yeah.
hated that Paul Kent. I love Costner. You know, I
I
like his
think
work
my favorite on-screen Pa Kent was John Schneider.
I was about to say that in Smallville.
from Smallville.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think he did the best on-screen job of
And
all the
Michael
Pa
Rosenbaum
Kents,
should be cast as Lex Luthor.
except for
Oh yeah,
maybe Glenn Ford. But we really didn't get to see enough Glenn Ford in Superman the movie to, I mean, we got the gist of what kind of man he was, because
yeah.
if you know
But no,
Superman, you already kind of know what kind of guy
no. John
that Pa
Snyder
Kent
was.
was.
Remember that episode of Smallville where his senator buddy comes in
Oh
a
yeah, yeah.
Challenger,
And it's
and it speeds, and then Clark's getting defensive, and then Pa Kent is like, "No, hold on, it's fine." And then it's the
yeah,
General Lee,
yeah. It's my
So
old friend Luke Duke, the
yeah,
senator.
exactly. And then he gets in the car, and by the windows, like, "Oh, the door's stuck." I'm like, "Come
Yeah,
on, man, we know what this is."
that was a fun episode.
Actually, I never watched the Arrowverse. Okay, um, Green Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, and the Time thing, the Guardian of Tomorrow or something. I never
Legends
watched.
of
The
Tomorrow.
crisis on Infinite Earths.
He's talking about Legends of Tomorrow.
But
Oh,
that's the
Legends of
thing.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
That
the
was
Legend of Tomorrow. I
Legends of
didn't
Tomorrow
watch.
was actually more comedy than it was more like superhero comedy
Yeah, probably.
than drama.
I watched every episode of Arrow, even though basically he became a killing machine for he really wasn't a
Well, that's
hero
how
for
it started
several
out.
years.
He was
Yeah,
killing folks.
Yeah, but I
and
didn't
then
watch any of that.
and then
But when I
I
heard that,
saw I watched all of Flash, and the last 2 or 3 years were just horrible. It was
yeah,
like watching season 2 of Picard over and over. That
see,
bad.
I didn't watch any of those shows. But when they announced that when read about the Crisis on Infinity Earth storyline, where they did that crossover with all the shows, and they brought back other shows, and that
Tom Welling.
Welling
Yeah,
was having a cameo. I think he might have done 2 cameos though in
No,
that.
he did one.
yeah. It was
He
just
o-
one on the
it was
farm.
just
The one
that
on the
one.
farm.
Okay, and I thought
Yeah.
that was a perfect ending to that character. Kind of just, oh, he gave up his power and now he's just human, and he has his girls, and lives with Lois, and to see Erica Durance again, and I thought that was cool. But also to see Lucifer with John Constantine.
Oh yes, yes.
That was to
Greetings,
me.
Prophet Director. How are you doing this evening?
See,
And don't forget Robin from
Oh yeah, Burt Ward
Burt Ward.
did make
um,
a like 2-second cameo and pretty much said, "Oh shit."
okay, now I didn't see. See, I didn't see, but I in that episode of Crisis when John Constantine goes to, and it's Lucifer, and it's the same actor that does Lucifer in the Lucifer show.
Right, right.
And that's when it all connected. I'm like, oh, okay, hold on. The Lucifer show by Jerry Bruckheimer is connected to the Arrowverse, and it just freaking blew my mind. And I thought it was
Because
an amazing cameo.
I really enjoyed Lucifer. I thought
I loved it. Me and
it
my
was
wife
fantastic
watched
from beginning to end.
every episode. I mean, with the daughter at the end, we didn't know where it was going, so it was kind of odd. But it made perfect sense. And I think they ended that show perfectly. But I really enjoyed that. That also Maze was an amazing character. Trixie and all these people. It
Yeah,
was
but
just fun.
he's the one that made the show, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's the
Just
only reason I wanted to watch it, is just see what
honestly,
kind of crazy shit he was doing next.
Chloe could have been cast by any other actress, and it would have been
Oh
the same.
yeah, yeah.
She wasn't.
I guess the theme of that should have been sympathy for the devil.
Yeah,
I always thought.
but I thought it was a good take, and I like because I had a period of my life where I read the whole Bible, right? just I watched a movie called The Prophecy with Christopher Walken,
Ah,
and I
I
had
see.
to find out more about angels and stuff like that, just for my pop culture knowledge and shit like that. So I read the whole Bible, and I really like the fact that in the Lucifer show, it's a proper version of Lucifer where he's not an evil guy, but he's banished in hell for trying to rebel against God because he didn't agree with some of his principle, not the fact that he wanted to take over, and also the fact that he's just a jailer. He's just down there to punish people that are bad. He doesn't entice you to be bad. He doesn't try to convince you to be bad. He's just, oh, you're bad. Well, here you're gonna get punished. This is your room. We're gonna torture you now because you did bad things. That's just his job. And
oh,
the fact that he got upset on in season 1, he got upset of people telling him, "Oh, I did this in your name." He's like, "I never asked anybody to
right.
do this. Be evil and stuff like that." He just wants to have a good time and have a better relationship with his dad. And I thought it was really fun, really good show.
And Raz and Ed, if you guys have never checked out the Profit Director's channel, you really should check it out because he does action figure reviews, but he does them stop motion,
Oh,
Oh
okay.
wow,
and
impressive.
they are really really cool. And Profit, if you want to throw up that link in the chat, so two other people besides you can see it, and my two fellow videographers here.
Videographer. Yeah, I'm not that far, man.
I
Just
just
I'm a
barely editing
it,
my own
sailman.
stuff.
I was having a brain fart, and that's what came to me.
I can add clips in my stuff. But for a while I was toying with the idea of doing stop motion, but I just wanted to do one. I wanted to use all of my Sunstreakers and recreate Sweating Bullet from Megadeth.
Hey, can y'all? This is a little off the topic, but I've been
There was a
wondering about this.
topic.
Yeah, well, off of what we're talking about, but y'all talking about Lucifer and in the new Indiana Jones trailer, they're playing "Sympathy for the Devil," and I'm trying to figure out why they chose that particular song in the trailer. What does that? What
Dude,
are they trying to say
if
there?
Indiana Jones meets the devil, I'm out.
Well, Harrison Ford is out, so this is his last one, and they've pretty much said they're going to retire Indiana Jones. But I don't believe it because they keep talking about, oh, we want to do an Indiana Jones Disney Plus show.
Yeah, but who's like Indiana Jones should be a character that is retired.
I agree.
Just
I
like
agree.
Optimus
Yeah,
Prime should
I
be
can't
retired.
see anybody
Not like
else.
Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime should be retired.
I can't see anybody else playing Indiana Jones. It
No.
wouldn't be right. Can you guys imagine what Indiana Jones would have been if Tom Selleck had gotten the part? Well, actually, he did get the part.
Yeah.
Tom Selleck did get the part of Indiana Jones, but
He's very charismatic though. He could have
because
done
of
it.
a scheduling conflict with filming Magnum PI, he had to drop out of it.
Exactly. I don't know. I
No,
can't I can't see him in the
Harrison
role.
Ford said that Chris Pratt would play Indiana Jones over his dead fucking body. Quote.
I can see that.
I think Chris Pratt would be a good Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
dude,
He's
saying he would be a bad Indiana Jones,
yeah.
but I think at this point they need to cast a younger actor.
they tried that in the 90s. It sucked.
Oh yeah. Well, no, they need better writing than what was happening on the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Here's an interesting thing. Tidbit about Henry Cavill that he tried out for James. They're looking for a new James Bond, right? And
Yeah, pretty
he
much.
tried
Profit.
out when he was in his 20s, and they said he was too young for the role. He did a great read, right, for the role. Now, the talk of people saying, well, he'd make a great James Bond. And they said, well, he'll be in his 40s, and they're looking to cast somebody for the next Bond films, plural, they can do it for 10 to 15 years.
I
So you're
don't.
looking
Yeah,
at
well, I
like
mean,
one person.
if you
So
look at
he's
James Bond actors anyway, you know, Sean Connery was maybe in his mid 30s.
Yeah.
yeah.
Brosnan was about
He
the
might have
same
been
age.
closer to his late 30s when
Yeah.
he started playing Bond. Then
Roger Moore.
Roger, well, there was
There's the guy who did.
Lazenby,
Yeah,
George Lazenby. He was kind of a young guy,
he
Yeah.
was.
but he was probably in his early to mid 30s. Then Roger Moore, of course, he was probably closer to his later 30s.
God,
And
and
then
he
Timothy
seemed in the
Dalton.
80s. He seemed in the 70s and 80s. He seemed. I guess because I was younger, he seemed a lot older than that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Roger
You
Moore
know,
seemed a
He
lot
just
older.
looks, he's weathered.
Yeah, I like Timothy
to
Dalton though. I
me, he
wish.
was one of because he was English. He felt more like the James Bond character.
Right, right.
But that's the one that's the Bond I grew up
And
on.
then
Now, if you watch some,
Dalton was probably closer to his early 40s.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then, you
Pierce
know,
Brosnan
Pierce
didn't get,
Brosnan was probably in his mid 40s.
and Pierce Brosnan was one of the qualifier finalists for it, but he was doing Remington Steele,
Well, his
and
wife,
he had to pass on it.
well, that wasn't the only reason. His wife
Yeah.
was having health issues. And as a
Oh,
matter
yeah.
of fact, he retired for many years to take care of her.
Yeah.
And then when he came back, you know, he got that role of Bond in Goldeneye, which is one of my favorite James Bond movies. But it's so, I mean, James
And
Bond
one of the
movies are
best
dated
video
anyway, but
games of all
it's
time.
just really dated.
See, James Bond, I recently watched all the Daniel Craigs, and I don't recall why. There was a reason why I had to watch them. And I really got into a spy phase at some point. I rewatched all the Bourne, all the Mission Impossible, and then the James Bond. I never watched the Daniel Craig Bond because to me, Bond died with Brosnan. I absolutely love that version. But
there was less gadgets there. It was more visceral.
It was
Yeah,
more
it's
Daniel
just
Craig
serious.
the
portrayal.
thing about Daniel Craig Bonds was it's for me it was not what I was used to. It's not what I was expecting. And for me, it kind of fell flat in Casino
At
Royale.
first, because the first one, he just got
And then
his 00 title, and he makes a lot of mistakes, and gets a
and
girl
then
killed.
Well, Skyfall was
Quantum
the
of
best.
Solace
Skyfall
was
really
I
good.
felt better than Casino Royale because it introduced more
Well,
of those James Bond elements that I was used to.
Yeah,
It still
Casino
wasn't the
Royale.
same.
I mean, Quantum of Solace, I think, happened during a writer's strike or some kind of strike, and so I think there was problems with the script on it because it wasn't the most popular Bond film.
No.
So,
But I just felt like it was better, or
Isn't there a
it
new
was
one
more of a
coming?
Bond film. It was more like a Bond film I was used to than Casino Royale. And then the third one, which one was the third one that he was in?
Quantum of Solace, and after that, there's
Was it Spectre?
No, Spectre's the last one I saw.
it might have been Spectre because then we had No Time to the whatever the last one was. Well, he had 5 of them.
I
Right?
think it was Skyfall, and then it was Spectre.
Yeah, you're right.
Skyfall.
It was Skyfall. Skyfall.
Now
I
haven't seen his last one yet, but Skyfall for me was the best
his
one
last
of
one?
the bunch.
No Time to Die.
James Bond movie.
Yeah. His last. It
No
was.
Time
You're
to
right.
Die.
It was It was Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace. Dang it, I forgot. What was the other one you said?
Skyfall.
Skyfall. Spectre was probably my least favorite.
Yeah,
then
I
there
did
was
not.
No Time to Die.
And like I said, I hadn't seen that one. Prophet Director, are you part of the Pepsi new generation? Do you remember when Michael Jackson caught on fire?
Rami Malek. What does Rami Malek did in that movie?
He was in No Time to Die. He was the bad guy. That was the last Bond, the last Daniel Craig Bond.
I
It
thought the
was
last Bond was with
no, it's No Time to
Javier
Die.
Bardem.
No, that was Skyfall. That was before Spectre. There was Skyfall, then
Oh, is that
Spectre.
when they go
Then
back to the prison where Christoph Waltz is being
yes.
held, and then he gets killed by some poison? Yeah, okay, I've seen it. Okay.
Well then,
I'm only a little bit behind you there, Prof.
But is there
yeah.
one in production right now, or was No Time to Die
No.
his
That's what
last
they.
one?
That's what
Yeah,
I
No
brought
Time to
up.
Die was his last
They're
one.
looking. They're looking for someone. They haven't. It's been a couple years, and they're still looking, but they're looking for somebody. Supposedly, they can play it from a 10 to 15 year span. They're looking for somebody roughly in their 30s.
Well, okay,
They
Cavill
want to
would.
go younger with the character so they can get
Yeah,
more
that that
mileage
puts
out of him.
that puts Cavill out then.
Cav,
Exactly.
They're
That was
probably
my
they're
point
probably
earlier
they're
that
probably really
he
looking
was too
to
young
cast
for it earlier, and now
an
he's too
unknown.
old.
You know, that would be something they could do, is cast an unknown. Of course, Daniel Craig wasn't widely known when he was cast. I mean, he had been in a few things that people had heard
neither
of.
was
And he
Brosnan.
was not a bad Bond. He just, to me, one of the best non-Bond films, and you mentioned it, was Born Ultimatum. I
Yeah.
thought that was the best non-Bond Bond film, if you know
Hey,
what I
imagine
mean.
if they cast Matt Damon. That'd be weird. But
Not Matt Damon
He's
now,
too
but Matt
American.
Damon 10 years ago, maybe.
but I mean, let's
Uh,
face it. I don't think it's gonna be Cavill because I think the
no.
next Bond is gonna be black.
I
Yeah,
tell you,
I think
Idris,
Idris Elba is
it just
probably in the top running.
Yeah.
he would make a fantastic Bond. He really would,
And
and I wouldn't have a problem with that. He's a great actor, and I think he could pull the role off
Yeah.
completely.
They
all I
could
can
get
say
Ricky Gervais.
is they better not, Prophet, because you missed it. We were talking about that earlier, about George Clooney is the worst Batman. I'd rather have dead Adam West as Batman than George Clooney.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch season 2 Picard on loop
That's pretty
Pretty much.
rough, dude.
while I'm
Oh
sitting next to
no.
Kathleen
No,
Kennedy.
you have to watch the entirety of Discovery on loop.
Okay,
See,
now you've
I
gone
If
I
too
you pick
far.
George Clooney as Batman.
Discovery. I watched season 1, and I liked it. With the alternate universe, the evil universe connection.
I can't even.
The second one with Spock, I thought it was a crap story. And then the fact at the end that they just decide to never talk about Discovery again and just erase it from all records. Nobody in Star Trek nobody in the high office of the Federation would do that. They're like, no, we're gonna keep researching those spore where you can teleport anywhere in the universe just by thinking about it. We're not gonna give that up. Come on. So I thought that was, a crap. And then I haven't
Yeah,
seen season 3 and whatever of Discovery in the
What?
future.
I think
Well, the
season
thing.
3 was the last one I watched because I liked season 2 up to maybe like the ending where they took off into the future or whatever. I just wish they'd have blown them up
Yeah,
I'll
like
tell
what
you,
they said.
one
But
of my favorite
the
Star
only
Trek
reason
series.
the only reason I liked Discovery season 2 was Pike.
You know what? One of my favorite Star Trek series was the Orville. Because
Yeah,
when
I
Discovery
haven't watched
was
that, but
that was
because
more Star
seriously,
Trek than
it was
the
more
Discovery,
comedy,
it
as
was
I
more.
understand it.
No, well, the first season was that way, but they switched networks or whatever for that last season that they did, and I tell you, they pick up the story right where it left off, and they have got some hard hitting stuff that they just, I mean,
Yeah. But no,
take
I
it
haven't.
head on. There's a
Strange New
lot of
Worlds, I haven't
seriousness in
watched.
it, but I highly suggest you watch the
Okay,
last season of
I'll
Orville.
try because I kind of
You
just
have
gave up
to.
on Star Trek because it's too action for me now. If I want to
it.
see action, I'm going to watch Star Wars.
Strange New Worlds is still action, but it's
Season 1 was phenomenal.
It's more Kirk style
Oh,
Star Trek.
Yeah.
No, Caveman. Who is? I can't think of her name, but the
First officer Rebecca Romijn.
the lady with the short hair, the one that's always
Oh,
wisecracking.
the pilot.
She would never be
Oh
on a
my
starship.
God, I would throw
I
her out
can't
a
stand
fucking
her
airlock.
character.
I do not like her either.
It's just
Are you gonna
you
say
would
the
never
thing?
act that way, that loose on any bridge of a starship in any Star Trek.
Come on,
Any,
come on,
yeah,
come on.
yeah.
Are you gonna say the thing? Say the thing. Yes,
I'd
Lone
like to
Dragon
go
Ortegas.
now.
I do not like Ortegas.
I don't.
I do not
I
know
don't
who
like
that
her
is.
at all.
I understand what they're trying to do with the character. They're trying to make her a hotshot pilot like Tom Paris,
She's no
but
Tom
it's
Paris.
just
Paris.
it ain't working.
Who was in Masters of the Universe?
Yes, he was, along with Courtney Cox.
Yeah.
Before
and
she
they
had
never
friends.
talk about that movie.
I
The only one who's
love
still happy about
that
that movie is Frank Langella.
I
Best
love
role
that
he ever
movie.
did.
That is the best. Well, okay, it's maybe not the best. It's one of the best '80s cheese movies.
Oh yeah.
Ever.
If you compare it to
I
a
love
lot
it.
of cheese movie done,
If
in
you
the same
if you
style,
take
yeah.
it for what it is,
What's the show the movie that's like Star Trek where they're the actors but they think what is it? It's like
you got to give me a little more to go on,
Yeah,
pal.
me too.
it's got Alan Rickman in it. And,
With
Sigourney
Tim
Weaver.
Allen.
Quest.
Yeah,
Galaxy
Galaxy Quest.
Love
that was hilarious.
That
I
was
like.
fantastic.
I watched it once. It was okay. I didn't
I
understand the
think it's
cult
great.
following that followed. It's just my opinion. All right, thinking of opinion, it's probably my time to go to bed. I think.
Yeah, I was only planning on doing this till 10 o'clock, but
Yeah,
didn't
you get a bunch of
specify
geeks.
AM
that's
or
how it
PM.
always happens, isn't it? Though.
Yeah, you didn't say
'Cause-
AM or PM, so
That's
Yeah,
true.
exactly.
I didn't, but I'm old and I don't know if I can hang that long. You see all
make
the
your own
gray in my
jokes.
beard
Make your
here.
own jokes.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It's always fun to talk about geek stuff.
Oh
And
yes,
So
always.
everybody,
You know,
it's time for our shameless plugs,
yes, please, let's have some shameless plugs.
and I'm
All
going
right.
last.
Go shop at DJC Collectibles, the greatest online store in Canada and possibly North America, where you can get anything Transformer at a discount of 10% by watching one of my videos. But just for Transformers, sorry.
Doggone it.
I get the discount on everything, but I can only get 10% for my
And
followers.
you're on Instagram.
Instagram,
You're on
Facebook,
YouTube.
Raziel Kane is Raziel Kane Reviews. I'm on Discord if you can find me. I'm on Steam as Raziel Kane as well, but I think there might be connected, or it's hard to tell. But I'm everywhere, and I'm on YouTube. It's been almost 2.5 years now, and I'm almost out of stuff because there's less and less figures coming out that I want. So eventually it's going to be going back to just doing the voice actor stuff. So
yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go back and review some old stuff that I didn't
see.
that I had from before.
I
was
tried
reviewing
to
stuff.
do that, but I don't have the motivation. Like, I have to be excited to do the review, and I'm only excited when I get it. So, like, I waited too long for my core class Sound Blaster that eventually I just put it on the shelf and never reviewed it.
Well, at some point you kind of have to say, well, this has been out too long.
Yeah.
I hadn't learned to do that yet.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not a.
If I got it, I'm gonna review it.
But that's the thing. Because I don't have much time to do all this. So what happens is that when my wife goes for a weekend, she goes for at her sister's, and I'm alone in the house. And if I have stuff to review, I'm just gonna review everything in one day and then release it gradually.
Well, see, I found that it's helpful to do batch recordings.
Yeah, me too.
And I'll set up my turntable. I'll do my opening where it's, hi, I'm Digital Caveman and all that stuff. And then I'll move on and, I'll do, whatever I got. I might have 3 or 4 things to do at one time. The hardest ones to do are Transformers because they're so long. They're at least, I'm looking anywhere 25, 35 minutes, just depending on if it's 2 modes. If it's a triple changer, forget it. I'm still working on Galaxy Shuttle, which I know you covered a while back.
I covered Galaxy Shuttle and the Toy Hacks decals. And I just sent my video to Toy Hacks because I know they don't have. I know Patriot Prime didn't review. He didn't do the Toy Hacks for Galaxy Shuttle and the smokescreen wheeljack conversion kit. So I sent him my 2 videos. I'm like, I know Patriot Prime didn't do this one. I'm not looking for a sponsor, but if you want somebody, if you just want a video because I really like those set, there you go. So they replied to me that they were going to send it off to whatever team does that, but I don't think I'm gonna get published on Toy Hacks. But yeah, it might be fun.
You never know.
You never.
All right, Ed.
Yeah.
Where are you? You're on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube at Geek Home World, and I'm producing 2 podcasts now, and I do want to say one thing about batch recording that Digital Caveman is talking about. That, like, I moved in February of this year, I moved to a totally different city, and I got behind on my recordings and all that, and getting my studio set back up. In fact, I'm still kind of working on it, which is all these months later. But the thing is, it's always important to get, like, if you can batch recordings, it's good. That way you've got content, and it gives you a little bit of leeway when you've got, so you have a little downtime in between because life happens. But anyway, I've been podcasting since 2008. Digital Caveman and I, actually, the podcast is still out there, wherever you get your podcast, audio podcast of Digital Man Cave, right? I always say it wrong.
Yes, the Digital Man Cave.
We did that for about 6 years, I think. We did 150 episodes. And it was very, very much like this, very, very, very
it
talkative.
Was loosey-goosey. We didn't have much.
It was very loosey-goosey.
We didn't have much structure to it.
And and so we did that from 2008. And I can remember it was around when The Dark Knight came out. That's how I always kind of remember, because it was like September 7th. And so it was around that time, roughly, when we started. But after those 6 years, I wrapped the show, Caveman and I. And then I started Geek Homeworld, which I've been doing since whatever the math is, 2014, I guess. And so basically the podcast is, as you can see, I've got a lot of Star Wars memorabilia. We're both great Star Wars fans. I love Star Trek. Anything sci-fi movies. I've worked in the film industry. So I have Geek Homeworld on YouTube. I did not focus, like Caveman said, we didn't focus on the YouTube side of things. We were like, who wants to look at our ugly mugs? And we did the audio podcast. And so I'll always be an audio podcaster first, but having it on YouTube, I'm trying to grow the channel. I don't have that many subs. Y'all have way more than I have. And that's one shout out of one thing I've said to Digital Caveman before, and I'm like super proud of how far he's gotten, especially to 500 videos, and the dedication that he's had is incredible. And I wish I had that kind of dedication. I wish I had that kind of time. And but life doesn't always work out that way. So I mean, fantastic job, and I can't wait to be on your 1000th episode when you do that. But anyway, so I talk a lot.
2 years ago. There's 2 years to go, and then you'll be.
There's 2 years to go, and we'll do it again. I'll put this out there. I'm always looking for people that want to come on the podcast and talk about stuff we've talked about tonight. This is, I can talk on pretty much anything sci-fi, superheroes, action, adventure, movies. I've worked in the film industry. I can talk about film industry. I also have a YouTube channel, Savannah on Film. And I did that as a radio show, turned it into a podcast. It's also an audio podcast, Spotify, all those places where you get a podcast, as well as Geek Homeworld. So if you want to go check that out, there's YouTube on that. And the Savannah on Film, I started out on Facebook, and then I Facebook Live, and eventually I put that into a YouTube channel. But I'm not currently. I don't live in Savannah anymore, so I'm not really. That show's kind of on hiatus until I can figure out what to do with it. But if you go on Geek Homeworld, that is the main podcast. But my wife and I, when we moved to the current city we're living in now, we started a podcast called Splorin' with Us, SPLORIN apostrophe. And basically, it's like I like to say exploring, but I'll say exploring. So let's go exploring. So when we moved to a new city, it was an excuse to do some fun. I know, wrap it up. That's what they say, wrap it up. And but yeah, we usually you'll find the episodes on Geek Homeworld as well on there.
Okay.
So anyway, if anybody wants to go and sub that, that would be fantastic. Or listen to the podcast, that would be great. And thank you so much.
If anybody's interested in being on a show, hit him up on Instagram. Send him a message on Instagram.
Yeah, you can send it to me on Instagram. I'm not on. I'm on Twitter as well. But
what is it on Instagram? It's official.
Oh well, that's mine. You can hit Geek Homeworld on. And I'm gonna pull up Instagram. Damn it. You can hit. Honestly, you can hit me up on Twitter. I'm Savage Tag Man. That's my Xbox gamer tag, which just hooked my Xbox back up.
So y'all can hit him up on Xbox too.
Yeah, but I'm not on there as much. But Geek Homeworld on Twitter. I'm definitely gonna see Geek Homeworld on Twitter. You can hit me up there. It's also, I think it's Geek Homeworld on Instagram as well. So I should have that somewhere, but I don't. So there's several ways to reach me, but that's always good. Or you can message me through YouTube, even at Geek Homeworld. So thanks for letting me be part of this live stream.
Thanks for coming on.
And
I'm
always
glad to have people on live.
I plan to have you on my show as well. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up, folks. Thank you so much for watching and getting me to 500 episodes.
Yeah.
I do really appreciate it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much.
And remember,
like, share, subscribe if you'd like to see more episodes. There's 500 of them to choose. And don't forget to ding that bell so that you'll be notified as I drop new content. And take us out, Raz.
And remember that nothing in life gives you a right to be an asshole. Take care.
Bye.